I know you were in Michigan dodging the whatever you want to call it, cold weather craziness going in DC. I guess the craziness is going on again. So you know.
No, I was here for all the snow. I was not in Michigan for very long.
Oh, I was
Uh,
talking about other crazy stuff, but let's not get into that. It's not.
yeah,
It's not
I
very.
mean,
Yeah, that's
Michigan is also crazy. Let's be real.
it's true. Anyways, I assume you can see my screen.
I
Okay,
can.
nice. All right, so I did most of the work in that. Well, okay, let's clarify. You picked two decks. I looked at both of the decks, and I'm like, well, this one doesn't have a functional mana base. And on Twitter today, I saw the person who played that deck added a green source, which confirmed all my suspicions that it just didn't have enough green sources. Um, they went from 13 to 14, but in the Jun Saga deck. So then my other critique of this deck was I don't think it has enough lands, and then Max was like, I don't think it has. He was like, he basically said, I'm not afraid of flooding. I have 4 Sunbaked Canyons, and there's a lot of like draw twos. So I'm like, okay, let's add a. I don't know what land. Probably a fetch land is probably correct because of Mishra's Bauble, but you know, it's kind of. I like adding lands when I'm allowed to. It's just kind of it makes the deck more consistent. You have to mulligan less. A lot of good things.
Yeah, I mean, I find it slightly disrespectful that you have not two old border wooded foothills, but we can let that slide for tonight.
There's one.
Yeah, but you could have had two instead of one of these arid mesas or scalding tarns.
Fair. I don't know. I think. I don't really have any excuse. I guess. I
That's fair.
just.
You have the
Yeah.
original lava dart, which is the important part.
I know, dude. Think about it. How often do you get to play with this specific lava dart and have it be good anymore? The answer is not very often. So,
I think it's probably more often than you think it is, but I do really like the trimming of the fourth light up the stage. That card is always so bad to draw on multiples.
So Max was like, you can cut. Well, I was like, I want to cut one of these draw twos. And the question is which one. And Max said he thought that light up the stage was actually worse than Reckless Impulse in this deck. And I could actually believe that because this is a prowess deck. If you have to deal them damage, then cast the light up the stage, that's the opposite of what you want.
Yeah, I mean, also like there's just a long history of Night's Whisper seeing more play than Thoughtcast in older formats.
Well, Night's Whisper is broken with Moxen, off color Moxen.
I mean,
Whereas
yeah, so is Thoughtcast, but
oh, so is Reckless Impulse. I mean, Justin
that's
Ganari
true.
tried that for a bit. It eventually exited the deck, but he gave it a good old college try.
Yeah.
So why do you think this deck could potentially be good right now, or why do you think Max played it? Well, okay, I know why Max played it, so that's not a good question. But why do you think potentially the positioning of this deck has changed in recent times?
Um, I think that they're actually, I think like very specifically, Impulse is a pretty big gain.
Okay.
I don't think that the deck, like people iterated through the deck fairly fully before, but like Reckless Impulse is like a new card. It takes a little bit for new cards to be absorbed, especially when they're not in the best archetypes or like clearly defining a deck.
Hmm.
I think that Impulse is fairly important when one of the key issues for this deck is beating the other grindy decks. Like you end up in spots where without a significant density of draw twos, your opponents would have like iteration, which is like something that's going to bury you in cards, or just like these mirrors between these Lurrus red decks tend to like boil down to someone just like all the one drops trading like removal wise, and then just like if they have a Croxa in the end, it's pretty bad. But if you have more draw twos, you can actually push your way through. So I think that that was like a pretty huge ad.
And what do you think of cutting Manamorphos? That was one of the biggest things that I saw them like. I thought about it for a bit. I'm still not sure, but the lists also seem to be split on whether or not you should play that card.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. The card does not do a lot on its own, and you're not really leveraging it for too much. If you were doing a little bit more with it, yeah, but like I think that's reserved for like the Underworld Breach decks or whatever, where you can like use it as a way to convert graveyards to cards. I let's see. I want to say that another thing that this deck had an issue with for a long time was the prevalence of Sanctifier on deck in the format. And that, I mean, I don't think this deck is good against Sanctifier still, but there's a lot less of it. Like it used to just be like, how do you build a hammer sideboard? It's just like, I don't know, 4 Sanctifiers and some garbage. And now they're down to like 1 or 2.
Yeah, it is kind of funny that simultaneously Hammer has cut down on Sanctifiers while Grixis Death Shadow or Rakdos are still relatively popular decks. It's kind of incongruous is how I would put it.
Well, I think that Shadow specifically is the big like revelation there because so much of the Shadow versus Hammer matchup is dress down answering a lot of the stuff and like just putting like it's not like it gets any better for like I mean you can try and overload, but like one of the things that does happen is actually the Shadow deck gets into the point where they have the Lurrus dress down loop where they go like Lurrus end of their turn dress down and then all your stuff's locked out on your turn. So like it's not I don't think it's a significant benefit to like move in on that direction.
I learned a lot about dress down and Cauldron Complete being equipped to a top deck creature that made me sad. It doesn't work out the way you want it to.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, someone in my chat claimed that I could just not die, and I tried it, then I died, and I'm like, okay, well, that was not fun, but I also was dead regardless of what I did, so it didn't matter. Because, you know, Cauldron Complete is a pretty messed up Magic card, especially when you somehow have 7 lands lying around to just equip it to any creature you top deck.
Yeah, that card it costs 7 to equip?
Thought so.
I thought it was 5. Maybe I'm wrong.
Maybe I'm wrong. You know what?
No one ever does anything with that card.
I'm corrected. It is 7.
Okay, I believe
because
you.
I remember it was sort of. Did it add up all of the Cauldron components?
No, because sword and shield. It's so the Cauldron equips are 4, 4, and 2, and the cost to cast are also 4, 4, and 3.
Oh, so the.
It does add up all the abilities, right? Because Sword of Cauldron is the +5 in exile, Shield is indestructible, and Helm is the trample haste first strike.
And one of them has the ability, if you have all 3, you can pay like 4 or 1 to make Cauldron. If I remember.
I believe that's Shield of Cauldron gives all of them indestructible. Helm is the one that makes the thing.
So you can summon like some weird indestructible being from the Helm of Cauldron.
Yeah, it makes a 4/4 colorless avatar creature. I mean, it is Cauldron.
Okay. So. Well, there are a lot of really good avatars in Magic, and I'm not going to name all of them, but there's plenty. All right. So just as a general macro point, I have not listened to your podcast this week because I haven't had time, unfortunately. It also only came out 2 days ago, or maybe even 1 day ago. I don't remember. But what other decks do you like right now? I guess you like Hammer by default because like why wouldn't you? 4C is fine and Shadow's fine, right?
I mean, those are the 3 best decks. I don't really know what the path. I mean, this was the Dominar's Judgment podcast topic this week. Or not like what's the way to thread the needles between those? I don't really know. I think it maybe is time to go back to some kind of Rhinos deck, but I haven't tried that. I have just liked playing Yawgmoth, but I don't think it's a good I don't think it's a bad choice, but I don't think it's a good choice.
I think it's like exactly it actually is a very 50% choice, it feels like, right? Like you don't really
it's just fine.
The issue I have with that deck is like it is one of the decks I think if someone understands how to play it against it, it loses so many percentage points. And it's kind of clunky as well, which is the other issue.
Yeah, I mean, the big way the deck loses is you get caught with like Cord, Evo, Yawgmoth in hand and can only cast 1 a turn. Like your whole goal is trying to cast multiples a turn, like just throwing them away for the best thing possible.
Yep. All right. Let's see. All right, we got a bunch of people in the prelim. Should be in 5 minutes. We got Avocado Toast, who is Andrew Tenjum. We got Sneaky Masato, who is Kane. We got Baron of Bacon. We got Phil Helmuth, who is not Phil Helmuth because that would be weird.
That's Sam Rolfe, right?
Yeah. And Rastaf is a name that sounds familiar, but I don't remember who they are.
Vaguely. Lord of Puntlantis is also a somewhat regular name, I believe, or at least notable enough that I remember it from seeing it before.
Yeah, but you click on like literally every modern deck list in existence, right? Nowadays.
That is in fact my part-time job. Yeah.
I mean, I used to do that. I haven't. I've been kind of bad about it lately, but that's because there's just so many deck lists.
Yep.
So yeah, that's. Ooh, we got Capriccio, your partner in crime, who is he's been crushing. Honestly, it's kind of amazing. Basically, he just comes up with these ideas and puts them into action without really testing them, and wins with like a suboptimal mana base, which I think is kind of funny. But good beats, right?
Yeah, he's been channeling that Tommy Ashton energy really hard.
Well, no, I think Tommy's shtick is, he won't come. Well, he'll just like copy a deck list last minute. But Dom's shtick is like he'll brew up a new idea last minute, right?
I think the Scales win was a brew.
Yeah.
Yeah, the top eight. I mean, I can look at. Oh my gosh, whatever. I'll just look it up. But I do want to say it's mostly brews. You are right because let's see. He top eighted the challenge with that Urza pile.
Oh yeah, that deck turned out to be quite bad very quickly. People discovered.
I think it's fine. I don't know. I am an Urza deck apologist. I think it was not good at the time because the format did not need that role played. But it's like it's a different form of a lot of the like a lot of the stuff that Four Color's doing, it's trying to do, but it's just a little more like it's pushing it a little harder in terms of like big end payoffs and like a little less quality in terms of like long games or whatever, or not long games, but like the like basic exchanges. Like it's less of a fair deck on a lot of axes.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's taking the same like big role in the format.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dom's other decks, and there's just a ton of vintage results, even though he's told me multiple times that he really does not like vintage that much, which is kind of funny.
Didn't he like oops into that top eight of the thing?
Yeah, he did, and then he had to play the playoff, and he was like, "What do I do now?" And it's like, well, there's things you could do. I'll try to help you, but it's also kind of hard because like, how do I put it?
Vintage is not an easy format.
Well, the other thing is all of like the core of most vintage decks nowadays, you go along 3 axes. It's like Saga Tinker is one deck, Bazaar of Baghdad's another deck, and Mishra's Workshop is still a deck, even though I think it's less good now. And if you really just like junding people, you can play Bug or Rug. And those are like kind of.
What about mono green things?
Yeah, I mean, like, I guess if you're a real degen and you only want to target blue decks, you can play that deck. By the way, that deck can never beat Bazaar in game 1. It's just like.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's the long running joke about those like pile decks. Just 0% versus either Bazaar or Workshop or both. Usually Bazaar, but.
Oh no, that deck crushes shops because it has 4 Outland Liberator.
Yeah, it's 4 oofs and it has some other stuff. Yeah.
Outland Liberator was a bigger problem for Canister when I tuned into stream. His opponent cast on turn 1. Canister looked at all of his cards and none of them did anything. They would all just immediately die to a flip Trigon Predator, essentially.
Yeah, well, that card's. I mean, I like to play in Modern where you cord for it on EOT, like after they have a saga, and they're just like, "Oh, well, I was gonna make a thing, but now it's night, and then all my stuff dies. That sucked."
Yeah, that card is like shockingly good for what it does.
Yeah.
Like I mean, just telling the entire story in Vintage of a white-green deck playing or it was actually green/blue for Ancestral and Time Walk. And Mental Mist.
Yeah, I think it had Grist too.
Maybe. I don't really know. Like, those decks are all over the place. People just decide how many colors they want to play because, like, you can sort of justify playing more colors. You're like, well, I have this Mox, then I can sneak in, like, a Savannah, and then I can play, like,
it's really
Kentucky.
low cost and really low effort just to put, like, one doofusy card of another color in your deck. And also, like, with Green Sun Zenith, like, all, like, that was the whole Grist thing, right?
Yeah,
you did Zenith for it.
Well, I mean, Grist is a pretty good card in Legacy, and I guess it's good in Yawgmoth? ? Oh, I mean, it has to be good in Yawgmoth.
It's fine. It's basically like the only viable interaction that it feels like you can put in your deck is kind of the way it shows up.
All right, Warrior, playing against Bristaff, likely Jund. All right.
Sure.
I think that matchup is generally fine, but it's also,
Oh,
it
okay.
is Zoomer Jund is the last result. So sagas and no reclaimer.
I mean, we'll know real fast that yeah.
Oh god.
Nevermole versus Jund.
Yeah, but this hand obviously has issues.
It's fine.
So I'm probably supposed to bobble myself first before even playing a land.
No, right? Like we're just always playing the fetch on turn one because we could reasonably. I guess we would bolt their turn one play instead of ending.
Yeah. Well, that deck is different. Amulet keeping 7 lands versus Jund is like when you have Field of the Dead in your deck is definitely different.
Yeah, Field of the Dead is a card.
I think I'm just pricing to keep that, obviously.
Yeah, why would you not?
And do I still want to play the
no, you probably. I mean, I don't think there's a world where we're. I guess the question is then 2 life. Like, yeah, whatever, just fetch. It's fine. It's pretty marginal. Like whether we use that again with another bubble.
Be a weird game. All right, they're bobbling.
I mean, we're gonna learn real fast how good this deck can grind.
I mean, we
do have
like 2 thought casts.
Yeah, we have an 8-card hand right now.
They're thinking long and hard about their bobble.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, that amulet hand was like Forest, Castle Garenbrig, like Growth Chamber, Field of the Dead, and I forget what the other lands were. I think there was a Colony Garden too. It was really like one of those hands that's just like, oh yeah, it really just I can draw anything and it works out.
It wasn't Castle. We weren't playing those. Wow, if you weren't playing Castle.
Oh yeah, we weren't. That was dumb.
Yeah,
that was real dumb.
You should have at least played the first or second copy of Ancient Tomb in your deck, but you don't have to play.
There really was not one castle in the deck. Wow, that was very dumb.
All right, they bobbled themselves finally. Yo, we need to speed run this for one. Any percent Boros Prowess.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna play Supreme Draft between rounds, right?
Would it really make you happy to do it? Because, like, honestly, it's not a format I particularly enjoy.
I don't actually know if it would make me happy, but I just wanted to throw it out there and see what happened.
All right. Yeah. So I guess I'm Swift Spear Attack, cast light up the stage, right? Like, it's the most natural play, depending on.
Yeah, I mean,
obviously,
we're gonna draw 2 cards, right? So it could be anything.
Well, I'm only drawing 1 card. I already drew the bobble. Right? I've already bobbled into
the Swift
Spear.
That's their bobble. Yeah, I mean, we're just gonna play 2 creatures and like it doesn't. I mean, there's like a very I guess we have ending, so it doesn't matter now. I was gonna say if we didn't have ending, there's like a very marginal shot at like holding the Soul Scar. Like they don't have a discard spell, or they would have fired it. Right. And like Soul Scar Bolt is like a reasonable out to a Goyf, but like who cares? You have an out to a Goyf, it'll work itself out.
Oh, apparently I'm told that you can no longer draft multiples of a card in Supreme Draft.
What? Like,
yeah, it's like then it's just like cube sealed, right? Like who cares?
That sounds dumb. Where's the whole point is to have 2 Lotuses in your deck. That's literally the entire point.
Well, the point is to have like 6 pieces of power on average per deck, right? Like
yeah, but like you could have 2 Moxes and they're all interchangeable, so who cares? It's only like Lotus Recall and Time Walk and multiples that matter. I guess Twister and multiples is pretty messed up.
Yeah, because they keep shuffling each other back in too, which is not irrelevant. Like I don't know how to explain it. It's kind of funny to bring that up because it literally matters in no other format, right? The multiple Twister thing.
I have had it matter in Vintage in some weird fashion. I forget what it was though. Like I have twist.
Oh, you have regrowth in your deck, maybe like Gush Bond regrowth.
No, I forget what it was. Maybe it was. This would have been like 20.
I'm trying to come up with a situation, but the thing is, like, you're not really allowed to play with.
I might have commandeered my opponent's Twister or something.
Oh, sure. So that shuffles in your Twister, but it also shuffles in their Twister, so you could hypothetically commandeer it again. I don't know.
No, it doesn't shuffle in their Twister because that's the last thing to resolve.
Oh, you're right. This is very, very, very slow.
Yeah. Why would I commandeer? Maybe it wasn't commandeer. What the heck was it? Yeah, no, that wouldn't make sense. So how big's the Goyf?
2-3. So it means it'll be an O, or it'll be a -1, or it'll be an O1 if I bolted it, right?
Yeah, I think.
Am I supposed to just ending a bash for 4?
Yeah, that was my line. I don't think being mana efficient here matters because I think that like the Goyf coming back off of Lurrus is like the worst case scenario. Also, like putting your opponent under the gun when they've just committed to activating Urza Saga is great. And also like yeah, it's just like all around good to do that. Like you don't want them to absorb the damage by blocking.
I agree.
Yeah.
This matchup is, I think both of you can draw a lot of cards, so if you just get a damage advantage, it matters a lot. Alright, I guess this turn we're probably just using both of these on that, but oh, that's a pretty good draw actually.
Hold up, are we casting that? So that Goyf is going to become, it's a 4/5 now because of the sort, or a 4/5 after the bolt because of the sorcery. Yeah. So
I could cast both of these and flashback dart and then cast his second main.
No, I don't love that.
I could also just attack and see what they do.
I think the options are either attack and see what they do or cast impulse here. Don't play the land if you're impulse.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
That's why I wanted to hold up. Do we want to impulse? Like I just want to.
I think you do because there's a lot of things that just like insta kill them.
Yeah, I think the other problem is that this hand is just like if you don't cast impulse here, you're just like globbed up on action and like aren't really getting any. Are they gonna Shadow Spear next turn? Hold up. So I think
yeah.
So that's probably okay though. If they Shadow Spear, they go away from we have a bolt with the Soul Scar, which probably means we need to bolt on our turn, which means I kind of dig the attack and post combat light. Okay, that's the right play. So yeah, you don't play the land.
I think they're kind of priced into blocking anyways, personally. Yeah, I mean, I think you just kind of have to do this, right? Like, it's crazy to just let... Because there's actually a lot of iterations where you just... Oh, no?
Hold up. Are they dead? So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. We're one off.
And one off is pretty bad because that means they just, you know, go to town.
Yeah, so...
Should I just bolt darts light up the stage then? Because I kind of want to shrink it down.
Yeah, I want to use. I think I actually want to like full kill the Goyf, and
well, you can leave it as an O1, and if they go to equip, you just sack a mountain, right?
I want to do the mountain sack now because it's worth 2 damage here because of like both prowess triggers. And I like I'm gonna do it before they block, right? Sure. Like I don't want them to like whatever they block is probably more valuable. Yeah.
Yeah, this looks fine. Yeah, it wasn't lethal. It was just 13. I'm just double checking.
Yeah, because it's 5, 3, 3, 2.
Yep.
So.
Okay, we found some draw twos.
Yeah, I mean we have game actions next turn. Oh, that's what it was. It was Spiral Twister.
Oh, but Spiral exiles itself.
Yeah, you don't full loop, but like once you Time Spiral is a messed up card. Oh my god.
I think I own 2 Time Spirals, but I don't really see a need to own more than 2. Like the correct number is, I think, either 1 or 4.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, they have pirate spell bomb, so they should just main phase kill that. That's one downside of doing it this way, but it's kind of whatever.
I don't think that's really a downside. We cashed out pretty good. So you play the Mire from the XL, right?
Sure.
I just want to fetch up a mountain before we do this.
Okay, sure.
Right. I guess it's only worse if we hit bauble, but like even that, I don't care. Like I don't care.
I think mountain is correct, obviously. All right.
Yeah.
DRC would be a 3/3, so I attack, play DRC, I guess.
Yeah, because the Swiss Spear is gonna have haste next turn anyways.
Exactly, yeah. Wow. So far the deck has been impressive, but I guess like our opponent's just clunky drawn anyways, so like who cares, right?
Yeah, I mean they had clunker draw and we had good draw. And we had double answer to
they
double
had they had 2 Tarmogoyfs. That's like kind of alright, yeah, they just concede. But like double Tarmogoyf used to be so impossible to beat. But I mean,
well, that's what prismatic endings for, yeah. Right? I mean, this deck wasn't there like an iteration of this deck that had black removal for this exact purpose?
Yeah.
This was I don't know. This was during the era where Lurrus was like full blown Lurrus, and I didn't even want to think about anything.
Full blown Lurrus is a messed up thing. So I don't think I want engineer explosives. I think it's just too inefficient.
No, it's I've had this debate so many times. It's always too slow. There's a chance I think you might want an Alpine Moon. I think Alpine Moon's better than Wear Tear.
That makes sense to me. The card I want, like, okay, what do we want to shave, I guess, is the real question.
I don't think you want 2 Alpine Moons.
Okay, one's fine to draw, because if you draw the first one, that's the best copy to draw, and then you'll get cluttered up.
The question is also if you want 1 path to exile. I'm kind of against it.
I'm also kind of against it. I think it's just, like, kind of bad. The one upside is they usually just aggressively fetch all of their basics versus you, so path becomes, like, a better plow in the late game, but...
Why would they do that? You have Lurrus. Like, they're not going to fetch basics against you. That's not what's going to happen.
Oh, you're right.
On the draw,
I could see cutting 2 of these, actually, but maybe that's just crazy.
I think that's a lot. I think that I'll light up the stage is maybe negotiable, and maybe the 4th Ragavan on the draw, but I could be wrong on that. No, the Clunkerson deck. You got to beat them that way.
I think
I like this.
Just be this, right?
Lightning Bolt's also pretty bad, right? Like Lava Dart kills basically everything Lightning Bolt does, but I think the double prowess is more important.
I mean,
cut a dart. Drawing multiple darts is pretty bad here.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, I think dart is at its best when either you're goldfishing or your opponent has a lot of 1 toughness creatures and they only have.
So on the play, we definitely want the other light up stage back in. Also, you should click submit.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking it through. No, like you could fight over their graveyard, but I think that's wrong. Like I think just fighting over their life total is a lot better.
Yeah, no, I don't want to grind them on that. Like their graveyard doesn't even really matter, right? Because like their Goyfs are still going to be big. So their graveyard is really just like their Lurruses and their Ren and 6. And if you're getting to the Lurrus part of the game for them, it's like already a dicey proposition, I feel like.
I think the real reason to have EE in is if you're afraid that they'll flood the board with constructs, but that's I think Alpine Moon
I don't.
Does
you cannot board in EE against them. Yeah. Your deck is all 1-drops. Like all the trades are so bad on mana. Like it's just. Anyways.
This is why I added a land. I think if one of these was a land, I would probably just keep, but actually maybe that's dicey too.
You wish Caracas was around because of the monkey. No, what would actually happen is people would never have their Ragavans die because of Caracas. Like they would just bounce their own Ragavans forever.
All right, they mulligan, so we mulligan. Look,
you cannot go to 5 here.
Yeah, I'm gonna just ship a fetch.
Yeah, that's correct.
Someone's saying that they wish Pending had been printed as an instant, so it would be banned in every format by now.
That is, yeah, that's a thing.
Their draw is much better at this game.
Yeah, I mean, they kept a hand that's good against. I have no idea what their hand was. Like they saw that we had Lurrus, so I don't know what they kept.
Well, maybe they just thought.
Maybe they assumed it was like a mirror, and they had like they had a saga hand. And
yeah, because if it's like Shadow, that hand's like pretty good.
Okay, that's a good draw. I'm definitely heating this. I think you need to save the ending for a Goyf, unfortunately. I
What
really
about-
wish we could exile
Well,
it.
hold on. What about Ragavan? I should just say go, right? Like, I mean, obviously they could get more surveils, but does that matter?
I think if they had kept 7, I could see your argument, but when they're like low on cards, I don't know. They kept a card. I feel like you want to pressure their ability. Like
All right. This is
Yeah.
for you. And if you're gonna do it, you might as well main phase it, because like then otherwise, what if they just like do something weird, like bolt you, surveil, find their second land, something like that, you know? Ban ending so you can play Astra Cornucopia again. It says 10 grams. There are a lot of D-Gens in my chat.
Annie.
Okay, dog trade. Zoro,
Dog
come here,
trade.
buddy. You touch?
I'm good.
Oh. Trying to summon a dog.
Yeah, it's all about the dogs here. All right, they had Channeler Inquisition, so it's a good thing we killed the first one, because more
Yeah.
surveils would be bad.
Second surveil actually is not that big a deal. Because like if they just keep with the
Yeah.
first, it's like 50-50 that it doesn't. Zoro, come up.
They took
Come on
my
up, buddy.
Casting Reckless Impulse.
Yeah, I think your deck's efficient enough that you just have to make the play.
They knew I drew Mountain, but I think just like trying to tell them that, I don't think it really changes that much.
This game looks a lot worse.
I mean, I think I'm dead, but that's fine, you know?
Zoro.
Ooh.
Zoro, come on, buddy. Zoro, touch. Come up here. No. Zoro, touch. I know they're going places. You're gonna come right here and you're gonna hang out on stream, buddy.
Feels like I've died, but if I
I would
cast
pick
this,
up your Lurrus. Maybe. I don't know. It's so you cannot cast that, right? Because you only have 2 card types in graveyard and they just minus rent on it.
yeah, I guess. Yikes!
Zoro, come on, buddy. Zoro, touch. I know they left to go places. Zoro, I'm talking to you. Are you just gonna stand like a doofus at the door and just like sniff at the corner of the door? I know you're mad. They didn't. 1 second. I'm going to convince this dog to not be.
Okay.
It's very hard. Zoro, come on, buddy. I'm gonna get you some treats and we're gonna go hang out. Zoro, touch.
Chat, we're gonna get the dog, I promise you. I promise you, there will be dog. There will be Doge.
Touch. Zoro, touch. Up here. Zoro, no, you can't. No, this is not the. No, what are you doing, dude?
We drew
Over here,
Mishra's
buddy.
Bobble, at least.
Zoro, eat the treat. Get in the camera. Don't steal the ones that I have not put away properly, buddy. But no, stop stealing. No, Zoro, come on. You're gonna hang out. Come on, Zoro. What's up?
Their top card's Pirate Spellbomb, Ari. I appear to be dead. But I did draw Mishra's Bobble, which is basically one of the better draws in the deck right there, I think.
Yeah, I
Like,
stopped paying attention when we didn't
yeah,
have
sure.
cards.
Oh, I still don't have cards.
That's fine.
I mean, this was a reverse route, right? Like, they kind of just had a good draw. We didn't have that much.
Come on. Zoro, touch. Zoro, touch.
Yo, chat, if you like Doges, there will be a Doge. Oh, Doge!
Yeah, buddy. I know, I know. He's going a little crazy tonight. That's it. I ran out of treats, buddy. I ran out, but you're on camera. How's that sound? Look at that. Look at you.
What a goober, right?
He is.
Also, we're dead because I don't have E in my deck, so there's actually no way to draw out of this. But
Even if you had E, you were dead, right? Like it's just yeah.
yeah, it's a disaster. I mean, like oh yeah, they still have a Pirate Spellbomb, so yeah, I'm super dead. Just draw Anger of the Gods. Then I die to Ren minus, Pyrate, Ren minus. Right. Game 3.
For some marbles, I would put the light up the stage in and cut a lava dart. Maybe not a lava dart. Yeah, probably a lava dart. That's fine.
See, they didn't even have to saga us to win this game, so why would we have 2 Alpine Men ever?
You could cut the Alpine Moon on the play, actually. You might just be able to raw race the sagas.
I didn't, but I should have considered it.
It's one card. Who cares?
Yeah. 1 out of 60.
Buddy, where you going, bud? What are you doing? Okay. Zora is off to do things.
To swashbuckle? Because that's what Zoras do.
Yeah, he's crazy, buddy.
I think I'm supposed to keep, right?
I think so too.
Yeah. I'm gonna. What do I play in 1?
Channeler.
Yeah. Right. We are actually discard proof. Because, like, there's. I mean, like, it doesn't really matter.
Because we're all spells? Yeah.
Yeah. Hands like these, but this is a 20 land deck. Like, you could literally get this hand in Grixis Shadow. I don't think that argument's great.
It's better in this deck. All of our cards cost 1. We can play them all. If we draw a second land, we just catch back up on tempo immediately. That's fine. I mean, we sequence like this for a reason. Like, we're trying to line up our Soul Scar with being able to actually apply a removal spell the same turn. That's boot. No. Yeah, no, that's fine, because Tarmogoyf turn would be this turn. I'm okay with that. I don't love it, but I'm okay with it.
Yeah, we got Feingersh 49 months of resub.
That's so many months.
Yeah, it's actually 4 years and 1 month.
What was going on in December of 2016 or 2018? 17? What was going on then?
I don't know. I literally don't. Like, it's
Zoro, come on, buddy. Where are you going? You're hanging out here. Come on, buddy. Come up here and touch. Okay, dude, you know I'm out of treats, but that's not the point. Come on, touch. You're gonna come out here and hang out. Come on. You're on stream. It's part of the party. You don't even know you're part of the party. But look. You're doing so good.
They took our Reckless
Interesting.
Impulse. Kind of think that's the last card I would take. I think I would take Swift Spear, but I don't know.
Maybe they have a Saga hand, but also, yeah. I mean, I would just, attack, light up the stage. Not even close.
Yeah, I agree. If they kill it, fine. Then we just play our Swift Spear second main. But
yeah. Wait, is Spectacle damage or loss of life? Because they have the fetch up, right?
Yeah, but they just. Oh, I see. So even if they fetch, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they would have to fetch Shock if they had a red removal spell, so they're probably just not planning on doing that. Excellent. Time for Swift Spear, I guess. It's worse versus explosives, exactly.
Yeah, I'm okay with it because it like the third land makes sure that we can Lurrus next turn.
Right.
So yeah.
The Spectacle is loss of life. I remember. That's why sometimes you're supposed to just main phase fetch.
Zoro, come on, buddy. Where you going? We're hanging out here. Give me a second here. Yeah, that was
disastrous. I mean, we talked about it at least, but
Come on, up here, buddy. Oh, puppies. He has no idea how to handle his life, usually, often, ever.
Yep. I put Lurrus into my hand, obviously, because what else am I going to do?
Yeah.
5/6. So big.
What's our type count?
3.
Okay, I mean we can like wait, is there an instant in their graveyard? There is. Okay. I mean we can just like dart them and heat that if we want to. I think that's the lowest commitment of resources.
So you don't want to play Lurrus creature this turn?
Actually, I'm okay with Lurrus Channeler.
Yeah. So the reason I bring that up is I think it's kind of bad if our Lurrus gets Inquisitioned, we don't get anything out of it.
Well, if they had Inquisition, they would do it last turn. I think the bad thing would be if they like you want to put the pressure on them to not let them get their Lurrus in like a reasonable time frame.
Yep. Because otherwise they'll like, kill something, put Lurrus in the hand, Lurrus Goyf back, or Lurrus the Goyf back at some point. Oh no, did I fetch all my mountains? Oh no, I have one left. Alright.
Zora, what are you doing, buddy? Zora, what are you doing?
Assassin's Trophy, huh? They're really looking at those Murktide answers, huh?
Well, I think there's just like one to cover like that in Saga and all sorts of stuff.
Sure.
We're still at 3 in bin.
Yep.
Zora, where are you going, bud? What do they have to lure us back in graveyard? EE?
EE
That's
Bobble.
a big beat.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, just the Tarmogoyf is kind of problematic, right?
Yeah, I mean, Tarmogoyf is actually less of an issue than like EE. We're high on like answers, light on.
All right, depends on what they do here, I guess. But
are you thinking that you're supposed to EOT Lava Dart?
Yeah, I was thinking about that.
That's kind of bad.
Why didn't they just equip it first?
I don't know.
They put Lurrus into hand. Okay.
So you are supposed to. You're definitely supposed to dart them EOT.
Yeah, I think so. We just need to get something going because this is falling apart very quickly. That is not it.
And you can upkeep heat the Goyf.
Didn't they know about these unholy heats from Inquisition?
Probably, but they're okay with that. Oh, keep that. Yeah. So I would not cast. Let me just double check the math. 3.
If they had an untapped land, but let's see, how much can we deal with them? 4, 8, 9, 10. That puts them to 4, but that's not enough.
What? It's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, 10. Yeah, I don't think that's enough. I think you just have to hit them with Channeler and pass.
All right. Yeah. The game is getting kind of dicey, but
it's better than it looks, I think.
Yeah, we can just draw some draw twos and try to like
do something. If they just play Lurrus, play Goyf, we clean it up real like on the spot, and that's fine.
I think we actually untap and just clean everything up, right? To get the damage out of it.
Yes. Zoro, come on, buddy. Where are you going?
So currently it looks like they're dead, right? 4?
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of impressive that they're just dead from this spot, but I guess that's what the deck does, right?
Yep. That is exactly what it does.
I think they lost because they didn't equip their Tarmogoyf with Shadow Spear that one turn. To be quite
no. Okay, you're okay to do that. Sorry.
There's already an artifact. Yeah.
That like as soon as you were about to do it without thinking, I wanted to make sure that we double check that one.
Wait, if I kill that, is it still lethal? It's not.
It's not, but that's fine.
Yeah.
They're like so far down in terms of stuff that like.
I think I'm supposed to keep that one. And I'm supposed to just dart them down to 3 then.
Yeah.
Or it's actually 2, right?
Yep. Zoro, you're fine. What are you doing, buddy? Where are you yelling? Hold on. this small noob is being crazy.
Oh yeah, Xpel says I'm shocked that I think if they equip that turn, our heats don't do anything, and then we just auto lose. Like we have to exchange so much for that Tarmogoyf then. Instead, we got to clean.
Yeah, they're
up.
also like plus a bunch of life too.
Exactly. We won because he didn't equip Shadow Spear in that one turn.
Oh my gosh.
What's going on here?
Yeah. So Tiny Noob has no idea what to do with his life, and oh my gosh, he's got to go say hi.
Sister's back. Yep. Okay, can you just give me like a second?
I think their issue with the spear was they thought we had delirium, so they may have actually thought that if they equip spear, they die if we have it.
Oh yeah, and they knew about it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
They may have missed that we didn't have an instant, which is very reasonable.
Yeah, that tracking stuff is kind of painful sometimes.
They pirated the. That can't be right.
I don't know what's going on. This looks like a concession to me, personally. They only have one card, plus we know they're at 2, and we have a bolt on top.
It looks like they're trying to complete their arena quests.
Nope. So this way, if we have nothing, they win. Or they're fine, right? But
I mean, we left a card on top, so yeah. No chance, but yeah, I agree.
Sure, but like at least this played to their out of us, like somehow miss quick gank, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a pretty impressive showing for this deck so far. Like our start was not really ideal this game. I guess it was fine. We had a bunch of 1-drops.
Well, it's also like I guess this deck is like both bad and good versus Saga. Like on one hand, Saga itself is very like clunky, but Shadow Spear is a problem.
Yeah. Oh, I will let people gamble with channel points because people apparently love. I forgot to do it for this one, but oh no, the Lutri deck is 0-1 in the prelim. You saw. Did you not see this? Let me show you real quick.
Oh
right.
Boy, you're gonna hear some crazy dogs in the background.
Did you not see this deck, Ari?
I had not seen it.
Now let's go Bork.
They do a lot of borking, especially him.
Oh god, this is kind of gas to look at. I do like the loot tree does not apply to the lands because I think your mana base would be much worse if it did.
I don't know how much worse it would be. You could just like play a bunch of individual fetches, like those are your only duplicates.
Sure.
So
yeah. Is this deck supposed to have Savai Triumph? Probably not, but
no, not with is there a charm?
No,
not with all these double blues. There was a redemption of rant about something magic related.
Oh god. Where do we start? There's so many places we could go. What is the thing that bothers me the most about Magic nowadays? All right, since you're here, I'll let you do a mini rant.
Okay. We've already ranted about no duplicates in Supreme Cube, but that's not really an important thing.
No,
I'm gonna rant about alchemy because it is asking a lot to basically have a format, like tell people to buy into a format where their cards are likely to be erased in the near future in some form if they start winning, where like the arena economy already like has been min-maxed and is like making it a lot worse, and then like there's like no prospect of like there's not like a big finish at the end. Like when they announced Pioneer, they were like this Pro Tour will be Pioneer, like we are putting like a backing into it. It's like, oh yeah, there's an arena open in a day and a half, no one knows what any decks are, and like make something and play it. But then like also like here's like your cards are probably gonna get eroded again. Like I don't really know how you're supposed to attract people. Like there's no like long-term plan for getting people into the format and keeping them there. Like with Historic, there was at least this promise of like being strung along with like new set introductions. That like there's just nothing. I don't really know what the point is. Like when Historic was out, like originally, like my initial complaint was like, this is just like playing with all the cards from Eldraine that we determined were too good for standard, but not like too good for super standard. And they worked their way around that in ways like I think the Mystical Archives were a good way around that. I don't know about Historic Horizons, Modern to whatever the hell it was, but like I think some like the other ways they approached it were good, but I don't really understand what the Arena team is like. I don't know if the Arena team understands what they're attempting to do with formats, and I think that's a big problem when you're like trying to host events on that format. But we're playing Modern on Magic Online because we're smart. So
yeah. So we have a little bit of downtime. I think Kane's going to take a while because he's playing 4C Pile. So let's go back to where we left off a while ago, which is going over old events. I remember we talked about all these. I remember we already talked about this one because that was the fairies rant.
About GP Boston M10 Limited. I've got some. Oh, this is a good one.
I also have a good story about this one. I'll tell mine real quick. Round 2.
Yeah, you can start because yours.
Well, look at round 7 and 9 and 4. It's just like that's 3 people. Well, Reed is unknown.
And Brian Schneider too, right? That's
okay.
Is that?
No, that's not the person you're thinking of. That's
a different.
Yeah, that's a common name though. It's not surprising. But this person had Garrick and a bunch of unbelievable rares in their deck. I cast Planar Cleansing to wipe out a board full of Planeswalkers and shit. My deck had Earthquake and Planar Cleansing. And
1 second, I'm trying to remember. Okay, never mind. Continue.
All right, so I'll tell the story versus Reed round 7 real quick in this tournament. I thought I was really good. Spoiler: I was not that good. Reed's deck had Platinum Angel and Whisper Silk Cloak. I had Planar Cleansing, but by the time I had realized he had Whisper Silk Cloak in his deck, I had already used my Planar Cleansing. Not like because not every deck played Whisper Silk Cloak, even if you opened it, because it wasn't like that good. But it is definitely that good if you have Platinum Angel, because then it's just like, well, most decks can't beat this, so you're gonna just die in 5 attacks. So, I was friends with Seth. Game 3, round 9, I lost to Seth because I forgot Harm's Way could just KO an Ice Cage, whatever the card was. Like, I was just tired and I just forgot, and I'm like, because it was on my Sarah Angel, and he was at like 4, so if I just done that, he was just in the Abyss and he was probably dead. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have any. I think I beat Pakula with my Earthquake plus Planar Cleansing in 1 game. Like, I just killed all of his creatures twice.
Okay. So my stories from this event. So drove from Michigan. This was me, Kyle Nabinski. I believe this was me, Kyle Nabinski, Kairuan, and I forget who the 4th person in the car. It might have been Matt. I don't remember. But we get to the Canadian border, and Kyle manages to answer literally every question wrong. Like the border agent is like, "Are you all American citizens?" He's like, "Yeah," and then he's like, "Wait, no, one of us is Chinese." And we're just like allowed in. It's fine. We get through. The U.S. border agent on the other side obviously is not like, it's just like 4 college kids trying to drive through to Boston at 1 a.m. or some shit. This was the GP they ran out of Plains and Forests in the building.
I remember that. I actually remember that.
Yep. I started this event 1-2 and then was game 3 facing down a Baneslayer Angel and thought I was out of the event, and then rallied back to day 2. I think I had Master of the Wild Hunt in my sealed pool, which is probably part of the reason. I do remember my sealed pool. It was Master of the Wild Hunt, a Deathmark, a Tendrils of Corruption with 8 swamps in my deck, and 37 pieces of garbage. But that's kind of how that format worked. I think I had 2 Elvish Visionaries and a Gravedigger, but they didn't do anything. So I day 2'd. I 2-1 the first draft, and the second draft, I believe there was a round that yeah, you were there for the better Kai Canadian border story where a similar ridiculous thing occurred. So I believe the game state is something like I have like 10 power in play, and my opponent has 2 Sage Owls, like 2 crappy 1/1 flyers. And sorry, not even 2. Sorry, they have a Sage Owl and they have a card in hand, and they are casting Elvish Visionary. And I have like a Crawl Worm and like some other big idiot and like something else. And I do not Essence Scatter it because I'm like, they're just going to play something better. And all my creatures are tapped, and their constant, like their follow-up plays are attack me down to 8 from 9, Time Warp, untap, overrun.
Oh.
And that was how I was eliminated from the money at this event.
I forgot Time Warp was in that format, but yeah, Time Warp is super messed up when the board looks like that. Especially Time Warp into Overrun means you're insta-dead.
They literally exact lethaled me with 2 1/1s. It was embarrassing. Well,
2 1/1s and a Crawl Worm that you did an Essence Scatter. Let's get the story right.
Yeah. No, it wasn't the Crawl Worm. I didn't the second 1/1 is what I didn't Essence Scatter. I had the Crawl Worm. They had a Sage Owl and an Elvish Visionary. I didn't counter the Visionary in case they played a Crawl Worm. And then I died because I didn't do it.
That's God, that's so good.
Let's see. We fit 5 of us into Patrick Chapin's car on the way home, including multiple people that were over 6 feet tall in a convertible. It was painful.
Yeah, that sounds like you'd never do that again in your life.
Yeah.
I have one more good story. Zvi Mauschwitz came out of retirement for this event. 3 rows away, I could hear this V cackle. It's very similar to the Seth cackle, except it's V instead of Seth.
It is very distinctive. Yeah, this event was awesome. I do remember this event being really cool. I also seem to remember there's a story from this top 8 involving like someone almost getting DQ'd with prize from the event for accumulated Soul Warden trigger misses or something.
Was it Zach Eflin?
Yes.
It was? Because he won this GP, if I recall correctly.
No, it was not Zach who won. It was what was his name? Oh my god, I should know.
Oh, it was Marlon. No.
Yes.
Yeah,
Marlon Egolf.
Yeah.
Have I told the Chapin Canada story? No, this was not that. We did have to drive back through the US, but that's a different,
Is this similar to the Chapin Kuala Lumpur story or the Chapin Japan story?
That was Japan. That was my first Pro Tour where he was going to play the 5-color control deck, and then he did not make it to Japan.
A lot of good stories.
Marlon Egolf, notable GP winner.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's talk about DC real quick because this is a fast one, and I honestly don't remember anything except I won a Grand Prix trial with Jund, thought I was too good for the deck, played tap out blue white, and lost to a bunch of Jund decks because I'm an idiot.
I played Jund. I went.
Oh, you have a good story. You have one very.
I have a lot of good stories. I lost back-to-back win-ins or something like that for this GP top 8. Like I 9-0'd. This was okay. So this was a GP where day 2 scaled based on size.
Yep.
So day 2 was like 8 rounds or something stupid.
It was a 17 round event. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, this was that GP before PT San Juan. So I played Jund. I XO'd day 1 largely on the back of Kyle Bogamus being big smarts, and so this was like a whole thing, was that this was the era where like everyone said they beat Jund and then no one actually beat someone being smart with Jund. Like there was like 5 different decks where like everyone's like, oh, I beat Jund, and it's like, what if they just like cast Putrid Leech and then attack you with Bloodbraid Elf on turn 4? And they're like, they don't do that. It's like, no, that's what happens. Like the weekend before this, Gavin Verhey and Jerry T had won with this like Naya Vengevine deck, and like it crushes Jund. They can't kill all your stuff. And then I just played like a 5 to 10 match set against Gavin and just like was like 60-40. Just like all I did was attack. I would just attack, pay life with Putrid Leech, and they were just like, no one ever does that. That's not supposed to happen to me. So I believe XO day 1. Only notable thing from day 1 involved like a opponent attacking Knight of the Reliquary into like Putrid Leech plus Malakir Blood Witch. I just like double block, pump the leech, thinking they're just gonna like purge the leech and deal 2 to me, and they just like put the Malakir Blood Witch first, and then my thing lives and all their stuff dies. That was great. But yeah, you would sideboard out all the cheap stuff against them and only Cascade and Determinates, and they could never defeat it. The freaking Mythic deck. So day 2, I lose to Jason Ford in a mirror, I believe, which was at the time, I believe, shameful.
Why was it shameful?
I don't remember. It was there was like some like, you know, like I don't even remember.
Oh no, tell the most important story. The best story of this tournament involving
this is the next round.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a Jund mirror. I play against Andrew Boswell.
Completely unknown by this point. He's just coming out of retirement to play Magic.
Yep. I win game 1. Game 2, I mulled a 6 and like missed land drops and like somehow stabilized with a Sprouting Thrynax at 3 life to his Sprouting Thrynax. I think I had a Thrynax and 3 Saprolinks to his Thrynax. I'm at 3. He's at like 17. And just like every turn, I'm like, did you draw the lightning bolts? And obviously it goes on for a while where nothing happens and we trade cards. And then he like draws the card and everyone watching the match like walks away. And then he like goes, lightning bolt your Thrynax, Maelstrom Pulse all the tokens or something like that. And like, okay. And like, I think I terminate his in response and all the tokens just die. And like from there, I draw like Bloodbraid Elf and then like attack him with Raging Ravine twice. And then he's like, I lost that. And then he peeks at his top card and he's like, Lightning Bolt, that would have killed you.
I mean, what that will kill you? That would have killed you is so good.
Yeah.
Because he used the... Oh my god.
Yeah. I also like, I don't know. There was some like nonsense with mark cards where I probably should have won a match, but the judges were just like, I don't know. It was a mess. It was not someone who I thought was intentionally marking their cards, but they had like all foil, like all beta lands and like mostly foils except for Iona and Dragon's Fodder in their polymorph deck. And like, I was just like, I can literally feel which cards are which. And then like one judge looked at it, and then when they went to confer, they just like walked up to the stage, waited for 10 minutes and like didn't ask anyone about what was going on. And then like walked back and like, it's fine. It's like, I don't know. Weird times. It was dumb.
Yep. Well, we'll just leave it be. That was years.
I think their solution was the player had to go buy foil Dragon's Fodders for the next round. It was just like the stupidest solution. No one was happy. Like they were like, I can't find them. They don't exist.
Yeah, I was gonna say
like they're like, I tried to buy them.
We're playing against Tenjum. It's probably Murktide.
Okay. That's a good matchup. Zoro is having a lot of fun with this ball that makes noise, but he's really just trying to chew on a large plastic object because that's all he does with his life is like chew on things and destroy them. Ooh, Jarvis, draw better hands.
Lutri! Oh my god. Tenjum, why would you do this to yourself? Alright, this sounds much better though. This sounds like kind of bananas actually.
You're on the play.
Is it crazy to bottom this?
No, I don't think so.
I think that's what I would do by myself, but I'm obviously open to suggestions. I think that's correct though, like because all my other stuff is
well, I wonder if Bobble's worse.
Actually, I was thinking about that, but I figured it would be crazy to say that. I think I'm gonna bottom the Bobble.
I think so. It's like a surveil and a damage versus 2 cards, and I think that's worse.
The question is, what do I play on 1? Probably Rags.
Yeah, you can't not. Like, your opponent's playing Lutri. What are the odds they have a 1-mana removal spell?
I don't know, like...
you cannot give your opponent any respect.
Fair enough. They're probably just going to fetch some Triumph anyways. And then we'll just, like, rail them with our 1-drops. I have to imagine anyone in the Lutri has to be a good matchup for this deck, because, like, you're just designed to kill people.
Yeah, you're the most linear version of any of these decks. I don't really know what the Lutri is trying to do. Oh boy, here's a Zamcam.
Zamcam?
Oh. Zammer!
Chat, there's about to be a dog. Dog!
Zammer! Welcome to the stream.
Welcome to the stream.
So dignified.
Wait, it looks like our creature's dying, Ari. You said they never have 1-drop removal. They had their 1 prismatic carrying. How lucky.
Well, that means they won't have another. Come on, buddy. I kind of dig staging here off of the Swiss beer over doing anything else.
I agree. Kind of close, but
Right, like we're not going to get delirium. Just throwing away like a damage next turn, probably. Internet
Here's
connection's
he-
unstable.
is it me or you?
It was me.
Okay.
I got the big pop up.
I assume this is Collins's deck swarms, yeah. Whoa, our opponent is currently Esper, but that doesn't mean anything. Spreading Seas, that's really rude, actually.
Whatever. We just don't get to cast Lava Dart. Oh, no, we do get to cast Lava Dart.
Yeah.
That's probably better than the other DRC. Yeah. Or not the like playing the one from hand. I mean.
Yeah, I was thinking about if I was supposed to play the other thing, but I think I should just get my damage where I can.
Yeah, like we're also just so far from Delirium that like we're missing Artifact or I would keep that here, I think.
Yeah. They can't have multiple Spreading Seas, that would be cheating, right?
Yeah, they cannot do that. They could have Copy Enchantment. That wouldn't be cheating.
It is in Ravnica, City of Guilds. Right? That's the set for Copy Enchantment?
Yep.
That's one of my favorite cards because it's like a goofy clone, but it doesn't clone creatures.
Jarvis, it's a reference to Copy Artifact from Alpha. Come on.
Yeah. Also, how ahead do you think we are, given the sports state?
Medium plus. Like, I could still see losing this game.
Oh god, Serum Visions. No!
Yeah, like, this is fine. What's the problem?
There's no problem. Wait, did they cut red? I'm gonna just play Reckless Impulse, I'm pretty sure is correct.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Also, we have no mountains for our Lava Dart, currently. I'm gonna just...
Out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is, like, nonsense. Okay, so if I bolt them...
Yeah, I would definitely bolt them.
Yeah. Because we're going to use all of our mana from the Reckless Impulse as well. Nope. If I dart... Is darting worth it? Probably not.
I don't think so. I don't think 6 versus 4 is a meaningful jump.
It could be versus like literally Damnation or Wrath of God, I guess. And if they like have to fetch, right? Like
oh, it's actually 6 versus 5 or 4 versus 5, right? Because they're effectively at 5 now because of the dart still being there. I don't think that's a relevant jump when like more relevant is just using your mana off the impulse. Or like the other
actually I should think about this. Should I play this first, then play it?
No, I would actually impulse because if you hit like land, whatever, you actually may want to put Lurrus into your hand.
Right. Okay, I'll pay 2. This is very...
I did not have that one on the list of things to play around, but
it also didn't really do anything, so who cares, right?
Yeah. So you play the Canyon, attack.
Mm-hmm. And then just play out my 1-drop and like everything's pretty good. I think this is going to die, honestly.
That's fine.
Okay.
If it's not to exactly Lightning Helix, then it's bad.
If it's Lightning Helix, then I just flashback dart and counter the Lightning Helix.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. I think you're supposed to play DRC here. No, don't play that because I think you want to force them to like removal and then like here you can fire the dart and you can always play the Soul Scar next turn. Like if you just have a Soul Scar, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Maybe this is extending the best threat into their first removal spell.
We have a Doomsday player in the chat saying, "Have we considered playing co-op mono brown so it could be stacks with Lax?"
I had not considered that.
But also, mono brown legacy sounds heinous. It's
Zorro,
hard.
dude, are you just shredding that plastic ball into tiny little pieces? How are you? Zorro, no, that's not what you do with that.
Don't do that, dude. Hold on. I gotta take care of this.
You can chew on it, dude. No, don't do that. No,
Oh, sorry.
Oh boy,
Sorry.
Zorro.
Oh,
my God.
McCall has a good point. We could just play any person deck and call it Sorry with Ari.
Oh no.
Or even like draw go, right? We could just play. It would be Sorry with Ari, right? Queen the dust on my lightning bolt. Right.
On the bolt. Oh, so they're drawing a card. That's good. Oh my gosh.
I'm gonna hide that.
Wait, why didn't they do that? Why did they not game 3?
They probably did not know the text.
Oh, okay. So, Tenjum's been out of the game for a bit, is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean,
actually,
that
it's not even true because I've seen him in so many of these prelims, so I don't know what happened there.
Take those endings out.
Yeah, I think we just Soul Guide. No, fuck. We don't have a lot of good cards.
Put Pyrite in. Whatever.
Oh, sure. It deals 2.
Can they? I don't know if he can kill a Firewalker. Like, there's probably a lot of cards that don't kill a Firewalker.
I'm gonna check the Collins list real quick because I have no idea what's in it. Right?
You linked it already.
Yeah, but then I closed the window, and now I'm gonna relook. There's a.
I like how we can't play around anything, but we accidentally played around the card they had.
There's Chalice and EE in the sideboard. Chalice of the Void. There's a Gut Shot. There's a Fury. It's actually mostly red removal, actually. So I'm kind of pro Firewalker.
You could just have 2 Firewalkers, no Pirates.
It could also cut a dart for the second Firewalker.
Yeah, that's fine. No, Dart's better than Pyrite, right?
Okay, sure.
I think that like the extra damage off of everything's better. And we're like very clearly just like having no respect for the times they draw the 1 Chalice.
Not enough Ratchet Bombs for an M. Hayashi deck. It's true. Definitely true.
Zorro.
But shout out to another combo player in the chat, MTG the Epic Storm. I'm sure you can figure out who that is, Ari.
Probably.
There's not many people who could have that much account, right?
Yeah. Not many.
Oh, this hand's fantastic too. Like,
yeah.
Hey, don't do that. No.
Anyways, this is my life now. No, don't eat the couch, sir.
Dog, don't eat the couch. Also,
there's room on the couch for you if you come up here.
She will leave.
Okay, then I'm not allowed to do that.
Zorro, don't bite her neck. Stop.
He's mad that no one's playing with him. Is really what's going on.
So, real question for you is: am I supposed to sandbag this bauble for the prowess triggers? But drawing a second land would be really good. So I don't.
I think you need the card, so you just got to extract. I think you're actually supposed to Swiss Spear here.
Oh, I see.
And just extract the damage and like maybe dash a Ragavan later.
Sure, that makes sense. Actually, their deck is probably not great versus dash Ragavan, anyways.
I mean, yeah. There was well, we're smart. It's fine.
Also, I was always fetching Sacred Foundry because of the core Firewalker.
What do you think? They're going to kill you with damage? That's not going to happen. They're just going to win the game eventually.
Yeah, we'll be the dog's not mic'd up.
He's just a loud boy who just does this.
Oh shit! Is it Collective Brutality?
That would be a beating.
Ooh, it is.
Nothing we could have done about that one.
No, not really. Our hand was soft to that, but that's fine.
No.
We dash Ragavan, maybe? Is that good?
Do you want to dash?
I think we just play 2 Soul Scars. Or play the core Firewalker. I'd play 2 Soul Scars first. I want them to decide what they're like. I think specifically because their black removal is likely 1-drops because the gold stuff's the expensive stuff. And playing 2 Soul Scars puts them in a spot where they're very likely to have to use cheap removal. And then we can maybe extract the cards that can kill the Firewalker.
Zorro, let go. Off.
Zorro is like just no. He's not writhing around. He's trying to
Well-
play with Zam. Zam is sitting right here to my left and laying down, and Zoro is just like play biting her entire everything accessible. Wait, is that their Ragavan?
Yeah, they have what a looker. They only have one.
What's our graveyard count? Is
Four.
it 4?
It's 4.
Okay, then I would not attack with Soul Scar. I would just play Channeler and Firewalker.
I agree. And if we draw any removal spell for that Ragavan, like we get so far ahead that it's kind of insane, right?
Yeah, and like like the things we just played also can just clock in. And there's also 2 things they can't attack into with Ragavan.
So there's not many sweepers in this deck. The one to worry about would be engineered explosives. They put Lurrus.
Oh, they
into
picked
their
up
hand.
Literary.
Or they picked up Lutri, not Lurrus. Sorry. Whatever. Same diff, right?
Not really, but
We're giving you chomp on her neck.
Oh boy!
give him the boops. And then we're also dashing, right?
Yeah, of course. I don't want to like actually expose it to an engineered explosives for no reason.
Oh my gosh. Oh my Zoro, stop.
I don't think I want the
Touch.
Soul Scar Mage. Correct?
I kind of want any creature, but I could be wrong.
It doesn't like my issue is when is this going to be like effective enough as a follow up to something disastrous, right?
Well, what are well, there's so many bad draws in the deck, though. I guess we're dealing 9 this turn.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ow. No, it's fine. Zoro's getting a little antsy.
Yeah, I'm gonna bin it.
Yeah, bin it and dash it.
What's the best card we can hit from their deck? Like Serum Visions, probably?
Yeah, consider visions. Zoro is taking out his anger on a chew toy.
We love to see it. We love to hear it. I guess we
I
were
know.
hearing it instead of seeing it, rather. All right.
I don't know if the chomps are audible, but I hope they are. Sam, hi. This is where she is. This is where she is with her life.
I think I could hear the chomps. We could hear the chomps.
Yes.
All right. So pretty easy 2-0 so far. Although I've started
I
a
can't
bunch of
believe
these.
they didn't even. Why did they didn't even cast Literary? Come on.
They didn't have anything. Or Tendrum's multi-tabling and has to get back to the other match, which is kind of fairly likely, honestly. Right?
That's probably true.
All right.
Dog stream.
Okay, you all check out the dog. I'm gonna get more water, and then we'll go back to Boomerang about old tournaments, because that's actually kind of fun, you know?
It is.
All right, be right back.
Yeah, it's appropriate to be concerned about Zoro's behavior from any other dog's perspective. He is one of those dogs that is like polite, but also explosively, playfully crazy.
Tell him about the dog park.
Oh yeah, he got called out of the dog park for being a frat boy. He was at the dog park and someone had brought water for their dog and they left it out and every dog was going through and drinking and he just like runs in and just starts chugging the whole thing immediately. And they're like, your dog has the same energy as a frat boy doing a keg stand. And that's basically the energy he brings to like 45% of his life, as opposed to the 55% where he's just too sleepy to do anything. Sounds like my dog. Yeah. 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 Crazy little buddy, as opposed to the super chill other dog. Very chill. Very chill. Dogs are yin and yang, but generally pretty good. It's a little crazy.
All right, I have a proposal for chat. It might entertain you, Ari, but whoever posts the best dog emote within the next 2 minutes, you get to judge. I will gift them a sub to this channel.
I get to judge. That's a lot of power.
Yeah, but it also, they have to be custom emotes. They can't just be like Frank or Z, because that's like, you know, dumb and pointless. All right, let's see those dog emotes, chat. I know people have dog emotes, and if they don't, well, then y'all just wasted a free opportunity to get some free sub to this channel.
True.
Look at that emote, Ari. The animated clap. Okay, we got a Spike Athena from Ferrando. We got Lucky Wait Cool Dog. We got a Spike Howdy Howdy. We got Sir Pug 3 Uwu. Kelp Juno. Oh, I should have probably started a timer. Alright, we'll let it run until 7:10.
That's fine.
Talia Oko. Kelp Juno. Also, what happens if you pick someone who already is sub? Then what happens to the
Jarvis, I did not set the terms of this engagement. That's on you.
Yeah, I should have done it better. Alright, well, there's a lot of good ones so far. Although Talia Oko, I have questions about who would name their dog after Oko. I have like some serious concerns for them.
Is that
I assume that's Talia Vest, the streamer.
yes.
But come on, really, Oko?
Ooh, that is a strong dog emote.
The yawning one?
Yes.
Cool. Alright. Let's see. Let me see if I can figure out how to gift a sub. Alright, I have figured out how to gift a sub.
Naming a dog Oko is just I don't know.
I kind of hate it because dogs are great and Oko's like miserable, right?
Yeah. It's not great.
Oh, at some point I should show you that awful Twitter thread that I got dragged into. Half of my
Was it unban Oko?
No, it was about talking about why I thought Oko should not be in vintage cubes, and the guy was like, "Well, you're not the boss of my vintage cube." I'm like, "That's fine. If you like the card, you can keep in your vintage cube." And I
The reason it shouldn't be in vintage cubes is because it's horrible and it's not fun.
That's what I said. And the guy just was like, "Fun is subjective." Blah blah blah.
That's
you can't tell
also
me how
true. Ooh,
you can't tell me
that's
how to
quite
have fun. And I'm just like, okay, but you're trying to tell us how to have fun? It's like big question mark.
This Nashville roster of opponents is pretty nice.
Yeah, okay, so let's I don't remember anything from the Steel deck, so I'm going to ignore it. I do remember Go Dennis killed me with Contagion Engine in Game 3 because that card was messed up.
Yep.
The only match... Okay, sorry, I remember exactly 2 matches from this round. I remember round 13 and round 14. Round 13, my opponent sits down at the table and they appear to be Jace the Mind Sculptor. So I'm like, what's up, Jace? And then, we play some Magic. My deck had 2 Tempered Seals and only artifact creatures, so they very easily died. It's kind of insane to have 2 Tempered Seals in that draft format.
Yes.
Because, what that literally means is you opened both of them because they don't really go further than that. I mean, obviously, the thing about Scars, and I'm sure you remember this, there were so many insane rares in that format.
It was really busted. There was I remember there was Sunblast, Horde Smelter. It was Carnifex. Yeah, there were 3 6-drop giant flyers that also defeated all of your opponent's things.
Did you also mention Wormcoil Engine and Contagion Engine?
No, that one did not instantly kill all of your opponent's stuff. Your opponent just lost.
Oh, sure. Well, unless they had Revoke Resistance or Arrest. But,
that block was busted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll tell the story. Round 14, I play against Efro. It doesn't show it, but I won 2-0. Game 1, we play a fairly short game, but I notice he's Infect. So game 2, I just side in every bad creature I have that can block, because that's what you do versus Infect. If you just trade offers off their Infect creatures, they can never win. And eventually we get to a point where I'm pretty sure he's sitting on a removal spell, so I don't run out my Molten Tail Masticore. And so I run out some other doof, and it gets killed, then I run out the Molten Tail. And you can see Efro starting to salt off. You can just see it in his eyes in typical Efro fashion. And the Masticore kills all of his stuff, then it kills him, because that's what that card does.
Yep.
And then I lost the last 2 rounds because I wasn't actually good. Except I knew that it was good to sandbag the Molten Tail Masticore versus Efro.
Langlands. It doesn't count the buys that were for the whatever.
That's why. Yeah. For a bunch of these tournaments, I won a GPT that used to give out 3 buys. And that shit was so broken. It's kind of hard to explain how broken having 3 buys is. And frankly, if they ever do return to this, I'm pretty sure they will just never let anyone have buys. And that's fine, This wasn't the Gaylord Oprahland in National.
It wasn't the giant indoor monstrosity that's that place. Yeah, Slurms. I had Contagion Engine in a PTQ sealed deck in that format. And there was a game where my opponent had me, the life totals were 72-1 in their favor. And then I played Contagion Engine, and then like I played Avencer, and then they didn't have any permanents and lost.
Yo, dude, that sounds really that sounds not fun.
It was great.
Was it
let's see. My GP Nashville, I played this event. It was the last GP of a season. There was Worlds. It was like some kind of like weird situation where I believe I could like, I'm trying to remember how it exactly worked, but like I think I needed to top 12 the event to hit gold for the next year, or like hit pro status. And like I was skipping Worlds due to school or something like that. I was like, it was in Japan on like a crappy week for me to travel. So I drove down. Alex John explained a strategy that basically involved taking all the cards with big stats that were green.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's just these cards have numbers. Take the numbers. Because like it makes sense in retrospect. Like all the infect cards are tiny. Like the artifact payoffs are like making a 4/4, and you could just like play a 6/5 and like a 5/3. It was great.
Oh, Ari, you have to pick the best doggo emote.
I do owe a doggo emote. Who I'm pretty sure it is the yawn.
So it's
from
BLJ
94.
Okay. I had a feeling you would pick that one.
That's a strong one.
All right. Wait.
I forgot. I listed 3 different 6-mana Plague Winds. I forgot the 4th. I guess one of them is not 6-mana Plague Wind, but like it does kill all of your opponent's permanents.
Which is being weird. Can I? Oh, the OO win just means the data got corrupted by the time they scraped it. So like the coverage page doesn't have the correct result. They probably, a lot of the times, they're actually really smart. They like did logic puzzles to figure out what the pairings must have been and what the result must have been. But they don't have the exact
round.
number. Yeah.
That round is also corrupted for me.
Yeah, so they probably had to reconstruct a round, but it's like you can do it if you assume, if you're a mathematician, which they are, you can do like all sorts of logic things to figure out what needs to be done. Pretty much. Yep. And
okay. I have a lot of stories in this event, man. This was a good one. Yeah,
go ahead while I figure out why it's bugging out for me gifting a sub.
Yeah, so spoiler, needed to finish top 12, got second instead. Alex John was very, very good at limited. He once carried a team sealed deck on a deck that was, I think, no rares, 3 5-mana 4/6, and like some cards. It was great.
So he was always good for a bunch of wins, no matter what.
Oh yeah, easily. But this GP, I opened my sealed pool, and I believe the best way to describe it is it was a mistake for me to play the card Dim Deathmantle in my deck. This was a 2-mana equipment that like equipped to give your creature like Intimidate +2/+2 and also made it unkillable. Because every other card in my deck was not like, I didn't have another artifact that you would want to shatter in the entire deck just because of the way my pool lined up. I had like 2 5-mana 3/5 reach that ETB killed an equipment. I had like
Acid
a bunch
Web
of like
Spider.
Acid Web Spider was great. Yeah. I had like my artifacts were a white mirror, a red mirror, mirrors being like the 2-mana 1/1 artifact creatures that tap for a color. A Clone Shell, which is a 5-mana 2/2 that like ETBs, you look at your top 4 and like exile 1, and when it dies, if it's a creature, you put that creature into play. And I had the 6-mana 3/3 flash Indestructible Vigilance or whatever it was. Those are my other artifacts, so I shouldn't have put Nim Deathmantle in my deck.
Darksteel Sentinel was the name of the card.
So I lose round 1 to Chris Walterek because I believe I died to Tempered Steel and Spike Shot Elder. Spike Shot Elder is red for a 1/1 with 1 red, deals damage equal to its power to any target, and you would just like put an equipment on it and your opponent would die horribly.
Yeah, it's like, see, the joke is it's Spike Shot Goblin, except when you get to 2 R, your opponent's dead. The game
Yep.
simply is over.
That's-
They're not going to keep any creatures, and if they don't play creatures, you just dome them instead. So it's like really
Yep.
not.
Let's see. My next opponent, Mike Jacob, had complained about losing to an opponent with a bunch of infect creatures and like an Argentum armor, and the only thing they did that mattered was play Argentum armor. And then my opponent sat down and complained about their opponent being super salty because they recognized like the RIW shirt.
Oh,
So I knew my opponent. I knew they had an Argentum armor, and I just saved a massive web spider for it and won. Argentum armor is a 6-mana artifact or 6-mana equipment that's like 6 to equip, and it like makes your thing massive and it kills things. When
Remember Quest for the Holy Relic?
Yes.
I'm gonna link it to Tad because it's ludicrous that this was a standard deck. It was not a very good standard deck, but people played it.
It was fine, I think.
It was not fine. It was bad. Come on.
I had a match at this event where there's a card Viridian Revel. 1 second. We're gonna pull up this one in the chat, but it's 1 green. That's not
you
what
have
I
to
do.
type card before it, but I remember that card, obviously.
It's a it's a 1 green enchantment, and whenever an artifact they control dies, you can draw a card. I chose not to draw a card because I triggered it too many times. They basically like my opponent. My sealed pool was very good in terms of removal spread, but only had 1 Galvanic Blast to kill a Mearsmith. And my opponent played turn 2 Mearsmith, turn 3 Mearsmith. That's the 2/1 that lets you kick your artifacts for 1 to make a 1/1 token. And like I played a Viridian Rebel, and like the game looked like it was going bad. And then like 1 turn, they just like let me attack with a 6/5 and then traded a bunch of Mirror for it. And I just like drew half my deck. And like the game just got really bad for them after that. And I think there was the 17th Revel trigger I chose not to draw off of or something like that.
17th?
Well, yeah, this was when I was attacking with Engulfing Slagworm, a 7-mana 7/7. And whenever a creature blocks it, that thing the creature dies and you gain life.
See, the joke is the Engulfing Slagworm just swallows it whole. Like, it doesn't ever get to deal combat. All right.
Yeah, so that was game 1 of the match. And then game 2 of this match, my opponent plays a 5/5 Chimeric Idol, which is just like an XX that you can activate.
Chimeric Mass.
Chimeric Mass, yeah. X mana artifact creature costs 1 to animate, and it's an XX.
Yep.
And I can either attack my Molder Beast, which is like a 5-power green creature, into it and trade, or I can use a Revoke Existence on it and exile it. And I just like, whatever, I've got more doofuses in my deck. I'll just trade off. It'll be fine. And so their next play is Molten Tail Masticore, which is just like a broken card.
Yep. I described it already.
Molten Tail Masticore, super broken. And so I have an arrest in my hand for that. I'm like, okay, well, that's great. So I arrest the Molten Tail Masticore. It immediately dies instead of killing all of my stuff. And then their next play is Wormcoil Engine. I still have the revoke, and then I revoke it. And then they're just like, oh, well, that's it. Oops. Zoro, no, sir. No, sir.
Zoro, stop doing things.
He's trying to make a nest, but like he's very aggressive and like would like to like, he just, is a crazy buddy.
All right. So...
yeah, that happened. I believe the top 8, I was not like, I think my first 2 picks were like Steel Hellkite, which is like a big artifact flyer, into like a removal spell. But then there was like this story of me drafting the green deck twice in a row and having it in my sealed deck. And the people to my right just refused to draft it because they didn't want to fight me for it without knowing what was going on. So I just got past an Engulfing Slagworm and like moved in.
Then it made it very easy, right?
It was very easy. And then I lost the finals because Jerry activated Mindslaver on turn 5.
I remember that because of Grand Architect, right?
Yeah, it was something like Grand Architect. Ooh, smart, selling that card for so much.
Yep.
It was he went like Grand Architect, another blue creature, play a giant Chimeric Mass, untap, make the mass into like a blue creature. It was just like I got slavored on 5. I don't really know what's going on there. I don't know why he split in the finals with me, but that's just the way he runs.
Look.
You got to hedge your bets.
Yeah, you don't complain when someone wants to split and then you get smashed. You just don't do it. It's it's fine, right? All right,
yeah,
Grand Prix Atlanta. I think you have some good stories on that one.
I also
I honestly don't have any good stories except I think Kilbor's deck was bad, but my deck was also not great. I played Demigod Jund because I was a fan of that deck. I kind of think in retrospect I should have just never played that deck in that format. Even though Tommy and I won a lot with it on MTGO, but like I think the issue with that deck, it was just way too clunky for what 4-set extended actually looked like.
Yeah, I played fairies after spending a while
No
optimizing
shit.
it. We
You had like 2 preordains in your
almost
deck.
didn't wake up in time for the GP because I distinctly remember telling someone to set a backup alarm in case someone's phone failed, and they were like, "I'm morally opposed to it, so I'm not going to do it."
You're morally opposed to it.
Yeah, we'll get back to this, but that was the start of the GP. It was kind of wild. This person also played blue-white fairies for meddling mage in this tournament instead of bitter blossom. I believe they went 0-3-0-6, but you know.
Wait, was this Curtis?
Jarvis.
Oh, I didn't. You didn't say the person's name. I guessed. Doesn't that make it okay?
Yeah. Scapeshift in Atlanta was smart. Fairies was great. Really good.
Oh, Swarms. Yeah, Scapeshift was really good. Specifically, the build that didn't play red, just like you had to Omen Shift, but so Jason Mind Sculptor and Oracle of Moldio were pretty good cards. I think Matthias and Jay Ford both played that deck, and some other people did. And then
I think a decent number of people did.
Yeah.
I know that Christian Valenti top-aided with the other version of that deck.
So did Ben
Stark.
So did Ben Stark. They both played straight red green, and Jason's like, "Oh well, you two are playing red green. Let me show you some cryptic commands and mana leaks."
Yep.
Oh, and enough rambling for now. We got another match. We got to beat someone else up. So far, there's only been beatings delivered with this deck.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Oh yeah, the Pro Tour RTR was in a bad location, but we'll get to that eventually.
Was that the like ship port thing?
Yeah, it was the pier. It was the pier in Seattle. Like, and it wasn't anywhere near downtown, so.
Yeah, that was the one where like you needed to like show ID to get there, and like.
You know what I did? I was staying at a WotC employee's house, and he said he wanted to go to the site, so he said he knew how to get in. So we just showed up with no issues.
Which employee?
Lee Sharp.
Okay, well I stayed at Gavin's house, and we had the same thing happen. It was great.
Nice. All right, Lord Puntilus. All right. Well,
easy.
I don't know. This person has played Cascade and Living End in the past, so that's like
you
kind
just
of
have to. You play Ragavan on one, but like you just have to do what you got to do.
Am I cracking the bauble for a land? I think I should, right? I think I should though.
Did they reveal a companion?
No, they didn't have one. Because you reveal before people mulligan, right?
Yeah. Good question.
I could just.
I think I would just try to free roll them, but maybe I'm wrong.
I think the second land. So, like, if they're Cascade, especially, I want to develop smoothly, and this person has played Cascade in the past.
Yeah, but if they're Cascade, you're going to hit them with Ragavan and get a mana, right?
And then I play what, like, Channelers.
Then your turn 2 is Swiss Spear Bauble, and then like you get to play the Channeler off the treasure.
All right. I guess I can buy it.
It's a little aggro.
I mean, this is Boros Prowess, right? This isn't like sit around, do nothing prowess, right?
Yeah.
Can our deck beat Living End? Yeah. The trick versus Living End is you get them low and then you burn them out. So I'm playing Swift Spear Bauble, right?
Yes. Sorry, I was doing something else for a second.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it through. Because we're at this point now. So. Bang. It sure is a fire ice.
Yeah, okay, so they're the other Cascade deck.
So it's rhinos, right?
Yeah, I would light up the stage. If they were living end, I would probably channel her and just try to like aggro flip cards off of that. But I think
Oh, we missed on land. It's kind of disastrous.
that's fine. We can hit next turn.
I think now I'm gonna crack the bobble because the land is still like kind of important.
Yeah.
Having the land last turn would have been good, but whatever. Not the end of the world.
Yeah.
Should I just give up on this reckless impulse? It kind of feels like I should.
Why do you have to give up on it?
I guess I
Can you
don't. But that
if Ragavan
exposes
connects, you don't have to. Like
all right,
I
so
think
you
you
just
I'm gonna make
first.
the decision post combat. Yeah.
All right. We give up a little bit of damage, but I think that's fine.
Yeah, I agree.
Hit Wooded Foothills. All right.
So I would cast the impulse off of the treasure, and then like they might force a negation it, and then you can fire off the channeler from exile. Actually, hold up, don't do this. That's dumb. I want the channeler surveil more than that. I think it's less the extra damage off the bauble. Like we didn't.
I don't think I want this anymore.
I don't think you do either.
Basically, I think what's going to happen is, okay, if you don't have a Cascade spell, we're so far ahead anyways, so that doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
So you need to consider what happens if they have a Cascade spell. And it kind of looks like
Yeah.
that's what's going to happen to us, right?
And the extra damage from the bauble, I think it is significant because I'm just trying to push as hard as possible there. And like I think like if the Swiss Spirit, like if we don't hit a land and the Ragavan dies, it's pretty bad for us. But I don't really think that situation's like generally good.
Fury's a really good card. Like if they just had 2 rhinos here, I think I could very easily win still with the DRCs, but they just have everything instead, right? And this is why I've engineered explosives in my sideboard to wipe these out, but we'll see if that comes up. That could matter though. So what are you thinking here?
I think DRC is probably the way out of this problem. I don't think the Ragavan.
Yeah, am I fetching Sacred Foundry?
No, our life total matters. I think you're going to play the DRC from hand and play the impulse from exile.
Sure, that makes sense. And then we're just kind of hoping to cheese them, I think.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And I agree with playing the Ragavan is you're just wasting a mana. Like obviously you give up a card, but the card doesn't even matter, right? I think I do not have time for this.
I concur.
Oh wait, I could have played it off the impulse. Actually, maybe I did have time for it.
No, I want cards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, now I sort of regret not fetching a second white source, actually, but whatever.
There's 2 in the deck, Jarvis.
Oh, true.
Yeah, we'll take 10 down to 6. That's fine. I mean, for certain definitions of fine. But...
It's not really fine, but it's what we're going to do, I think, is the reality, right?
Yeah.
If they have another Cascade...
Yeah, if they Cascade again, we're done. That's not great for us.
I like how they discarded 2 Seasoned Pyromancers because they don't have a second red. So what I think actually happened this game was they kept a land light hand, probably.
Yeah.
Do I just dart stage, look for a white source, and double ending?
Uh, are we killing the agent?
No, I would dart them, right? Like, because maybe that doesn't make sense.
I think you need to kill the agent because if you take 3 and fetch and then take an agent hit, you're dead to fire ice or bone crusher.
So,
but really, what's going to happen is you're going to attack and they're going to cascade and you're going to see the game. But you could, I would attack first. Yeah.
I mean, sure, if that happens, we can never win, but that's fine.
Yep.
Okay. I guess I'll make sure that they have more.
I would right click concede, but you can look at what they revealed.
Yeah, pretty classic. But I don't think we could really win that game. Actually, maybe we could have won if we had used the bauble to get the second land earlier. But it's still like kind of dicey, I think.
Yep.
A quick Google search notes Rhinos to be very flammable, so if we lose this match, it's a big flavor fail. Let's see. Alright. These are they're coming in.
What about the chalices we don't have?
The chalices became EEs.
I know. You can cut the endings, right?
Yeah, they're like pretty atrocious. Our decks, I mean, like, this matchup is weird because I think it's literally just a race.
I think it's just bad. I don't think this matchup's good.
Yeah, I could see that.
I would click submit though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like Rhinos. Rhinos are good cards.
Yeah, Shardos Agent sort of pushed it over the edge.
That card is good.
It turns out it's a lot better to make 10 power than it is to draw 4 cards or whatever. Draw 3 cards. Alright. This is what our deck does. Like, this is like... If they have nothing, this, like, kills very quickly. I guess I'm fetching... Feels like I should just fetch Shock, actually. But...
Why? What white cards are in your deck, Jarvis?
Well, the Lurrus EE thing might matter, right?
I would preserve my life total to tank a hit, especially because our other land is a guaranteed damage on every activation.
Alright, sure. But that's why I wanted to fetch this turn, because you offset the damage just by using the fetch.
Can you repeat that?
If you have to tap this multiple times, and you're going to have to fetch eventually, you might as well just fetch on turn 1.
No. I don't know if we're going to have to fetch eventually.
Wait. So this is dead gone?
Probably. I mean, you're just attacking them and letting your thing die.
Yep.
Then playing 2 doofuses and... Yeah. Yeah, I don't think you can get away with playing 1 and like playing around a removal spell. That's just not how this matchup works.
No, that's not what I was considering. If they Fury us, so be it. That's fine.
Yeah.
It's suspended 2 footfalls, though. Do I just, like, jam damage on them?
No, because our creatures are soul scars, it's better to be able to shrink down rhinos. I think we can actually push through a singular rhino.
I mean, a single footfalls?
Yeah, I'm just 5. Hold up, how much damage is this?
So this is +5. This is +3. This is +3. So it's 11, 12, 13.
13. They go to 3. No, yeah, fuck them.
Yeah.
Lead on the dart though. Lead on the dart.
Oh yeah, you're right. Because if they have, what
Yeah.
could they have?
Force and negation.
Oh, true. Right.
I don't know if they have it in their deck after sideboarding, but they could have that.
I'm gonna bin this. I don't think it does anything. We only have 3 types.
Probably not, no. Is that it's not the 4th type. I would bin that too, though. I don't think it does anything in the games you're going to lose from here.
Great.
Three is also a really nice life tool because they can't crack fetch shock, or like I guess they wouldn't. They would need to. I guess they no, they don't have foothills in the back though. Usually they have blue.
Also, this is correct because what if we just find delirium, right? Like,
yeah,
this is definitely correct.
I did it. I found delirium, Jarvis. Yes, that's correct. Oh, that's super correct. Because then they could not force a negation us. Big smarts.
Wow, that was kind of a sick game. Turn 4 kill. Did we mulligan? We didn't. Oh, did they mulligan? I don't think they did, right?
I don't think so. They did have Dead Gone and like a Cascade spell, so that's a totally fine hand.
Yeah, no. I think their hand was good, obviously. It's just we dealt them a bunch of damage. Do I want to change anything? Probably not. I've seen people do this, but I don't think it's good to do that in this matchup. I think that's just like
no, I would not.
Yeah.
Is this card good versus green 4/4s? Yes, no.
Yeah, this deck feels pretty good. Now I can see why like Max won a bunch with it in that challenge, right?
You win very fast. There's a lot of time to talk about things and stuff.
All right, keep.
I don't like this hand.
What do you want to mulligan to?
A channeler? I don't know. I don't think this hand is great, but whatever. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah. I don't really believe you're allowed to mulligan this hand personally, but
I feel like it's almost a 6-card hand already, and it's like a pretty medium 6.
But I'm still leading with Rags even though I have the channeler, right?
Yeah. Your card's not gonna the card's gonna do nothing at any point afterwards.
What's my preference? Things or stuff? Things, I think. What's your preference, Ari? Things or stuff?
Things.
Okay. Maybe they'll just draw all of their footfalls again.
You got to exile them from the top of their deck. That's the big smarts play. Yeah, you have to attack them. Yeah. I think. I guess it depends what they do with this Ragavan. I'm okay basically conceding to a Fury, so I'd play Soulscar and Dragon Rage.
I think I'm also okay with that. I don't think I'm allowed to like play around anything by this point.
No, you just kind of hope that they have Outburst instead of Shardless at this point. Nice.
It's kind of problematic.
You're supposed to fetch a basic. And I think you dash Rags and attack all, maybe? Is that maybe you don't attack all.
It's kind of hard to attack if I... Oh no, I see. Okay. Maybe only attack with Ragavan then?
Maybe you're supposed to bolt them and see if you hit Delirium. Right? Like that. I think that's the best option. Oh, no. Because then you can't attack with the stupid. It all sucks. I don't know. Like the bolt does kill a 4/4, basically. I don't know if you can attack all though.
Yeah, kind of complicated.
Dash Ragavan don't attack with Channeler.
When you put Lurrus in your hand, I don't think that does.
No, that doesn't do anything. That just lets them have some like 8 power and then we die.
All right, I think I'm going to dash the Ragavan and attack with Ragavan at least.
Yeah, you cannot dash Ragavan go. Like that's just not an
Yeah.
option, Jarvis.
Look, some people have done crazy things. Oh god, it's so complicated.
Yeah, I like dash Ragavan attack with Soulscar Ragavan.
Maybe they just don't. Maybe they only have Prismari command, which is a lot more beatable.
Yeah, maybe everything's good. They didn't mulligan, right?
No. I mean, I expect to be outbursted, but
yeah. This is fun.
Some definition of fine.
Yep. And then we bolt the one blocking the Soul Scar.
Yep.
Because then we keep a creature around. Then that for delirium, so that they can't use a 2-mana remove or 2 damage removal spell on the channeler. This actually like isn't a terrible position.
I mean,
it depends what else they have.
If they have anything else, we're probably toast, but that's fine, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. Yeah, this is definitely a like this is definitely the this is fine meme, but
yeah. If I don't draw anything, I guess I have to put Lurrus into my hand, but really hoping we can do better than that, right?
I almost wonder if sacrificing the land is better than getting back Lurrus, but
don't think it is.
Probably not, but it's close.
Because the other issue with that, it makes your... Alright, so they did have Prismari command. And they're looting? Oh, they drew another Footfalls!
What happened?
They discarded another Footfalls, so maybe all of them are in their hand. And now I just put Lurrus and play the Soul Scar.
Yeah. This turn is like self-evident.
Just there's no reason to play this land this turn, right?
No, you shouldn't take a damage.
MTGO makes the right play for you. Which is attack.
Must attack.
This is coming off suspend, which is kind of problematic, but whatever. We can't really do much.
Yeah. No.
I'm never balking.
We should draw exactly engineered explosives. I would play
Swift Spear.
Yes.
Swift Spear, Lurrus, Bauble, right?
Yeah. I was just thinking about the correct order.
I think it's you're supposed to play the Swift Spear first, right?
Right. Yeah. I was just thinking like if you want to play the Lurrus for it, it's fine. You want to do it the way that you described.
I don't have Delirium anymore, but I will rehab it.
Yeah.
So.
Bolander. The other thing too is we're using mana on the turn that we're the least pressured to try and find stuff to attack. Oh, put that in the graveyard. Oh yeah.
Yep.
Free roll.
I guess I just bubble myself.
Why would you bubble yourself?
So I get more information about what I'm actually allowed to attack with.
Why are you not attacking with all of them? I don't understand. If they have an outburst, you're dead. Like, I don't think that matters.
Okay, sure.
I don't really see how we recover from getting attacked for 1 billion. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe the last Footfalls is in their hand. No, it wasn't. Shit.
Yeah, So we can still use Dart to kill one of the rhinos that blocks the Soul Scar. I would target them, right?
Fuck. That's almost certainly lethal.
Not if they block. Right? Yeah. We have outs. Because now, I mean, if they attack, we are obligated to block with Lurrus because we can't take the damage, but this is fine.
Oh, oh wait, no. This is fine. Okay, they force negation, which is actually a bummer. So now I believe I'm dead because I know their top card is Prismari Command.
Yeah, now you're done, Zod. There's nothing you can do from here. Well, just make sure they kill the Lurrus. Like, they might just, I don't know, do something dumb.
But they also have another Footfalls coming off, so like...
Yeah, I mean, if we draw EE, then that's undone.
Sure. This was not pleasant, but this also seems... Oh, they also just attacked with everything. We block, go to 2, and...
I mean, whatever. Yeah, not a lot we could have done there. I think, like, if we don't attack, I cannot, like... When the game is about... Yeah, we're done. When the game is fundamentally about trying to, like, do the most before this second Footfalls crashes down, like... Yeah, you can't not attack.
Yeah, exactly. Your decision's like kind of predetermined, honestly, but so
yeah, and we had 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 cards to an EE that turn too. So
yeah,
we did what we could.
I'm gonna restart MTGO because I'm getting some lag. Classic.
That's the pro maneuver, Jarvis.
It is, in fact, a pro maneuver. That is what I've heard. Shaudius, we know why it doesn't have haste, but Matt was saying it, asking facetiously why it didn't have haste, because that's funny. Is it funny? I don't know. It's like, whatever. That finished fairly quickly. Alright, where were we at? Where were our heroes at? Oh, you were telling stories about
Nashville.
No, we finished Nashville, right?
Did Atlanta, right. Okay. So we almost didn't make the GP. I 9-0'd day 1. My deck, like, I was blocking my opponent's great Sable Stags with Wall of Tanglecord at this event.
Oh god, you should tell the Curtis Droge Tanglecord story about
Oh, this was in draft though.
No,
this
wait,
was
no, just tell it anyways while I get more.
Yeah,
water.
So this is anyways, I'm gonna put Zam on the camera. That's an important part of the storytelling because she is belly up and getting scratches. But so in a Scars and Mirrored in draft, Curtis had 3 Wall of Tanglecords in his pool. And he said a statement to the effect of, it is humanly impossible to determine if I should play, like, how many I should play. Like, it's 1 or 2, or like, what's the last card? So therefore, the only logical choice is 0 or 3. And I said, Curtis, what happens if I just ripped one of these up to prevent you from playing 3 Wall of Tanglecords? And he thought about it. He said, I would play 0. So yeah, Curtis is a character, but 9-0 day 1 of this GP, I ended up losing a match to Wesco and then ending up in a spot in the late rounds where I was X-1 in the last round. And Wesco was X-2-1 and was like, hey, like, if you win this round, I think I'm in top 8 or something like that. And I ended up playing my round. And my opponent made the mistake of, they had Prismatic Omen in play, which is like 1 in a green, dry to the Elysian Grove, but not a creature. And Yes, Bobby, lol. So yeah, Prismatic Omen, 1 green, all your lands are all land types. This is the original way to Valakut people. They're playing the like Scapeshift Omen Valakut deck. And they cracked an Evolving Wilds for no reason. And in response, I cast my 1 sideboard Consigned to Dream on their Omen, and they immediately lost. Consigned to Dream is 2 and a blue, bounce target permanent. If that permanent was green, instead put it on top of its owner's library, and it got shuffled back in. And yeah, they goofed that a little bit there. They still top 16, which was still a PT invite. And then in the top 8, so what ended up happening was I had not defeated someone and opened a slot for Wesco at X2-1. I had defeated someone and opened a slot for an X2, which happened to be Christian Valenti, who great person, great guy. He crushed me in the top 8 with Spear Spellbreaker Behemoth, the 1 red 5/5 or 1 green red 5/5 can't be countered or stuff can't be countered, and then cast Primeval Titan, and then I died. But Fairies was really, really good. Yeah, really good. Right. I remember playing like 2 Preordain and being like feeling like really smart because I was the only person with Preordain, and I only played 2.
Yeah, that was probably a mistake, but let's not harp on past mistakes. Let's go back to the first Pro Tour I played, which was Paris. Which, wait, did you actually play this one? I think you might have skipped, right?
Nope, I skipped due to school. I would have played a deck that went undefeated in the Swiss, but the undefeated was 3-0-2 in the hands of the 1 player that played it. I actually think the deck was really good, but it required a very fast pace of play.
Speaking of which, we got a giant raid from Jorbs, aka Join Ribs, aka Lover of Life from the Loam, but he only streams Slay the Spire now. Speaking of which, you did watch the Slay the Spire speedrun earlier, right?
I did not. I have actually not played Slay the Spire. I need to. It seems like the exact kind of thing I would be into.
Yeah, so the Slay the Spire speedrun, obviously there's like a lot of weird glitches and optimizations they do that don't really happen unless if you're looking for that sort of thing. But it was very fun to watch that personally. I played it casually, like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not Jorb's level at playing that game. It's hard to be Jorb's level because I think he's probably the best Slay player in the world. Not that I don't think he would put it that way, but I'm pretty sure he's the one who's streamed the most Slay the Spire in the world. So
that's it. Yeah, it seems like a sort of genre defining thing. So I probably should get around to it. I'm clearing out my backlog of video games recently. I did recently play Inscription, which was interesting. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but it was interesting.
So I'm 1/3 of the way through that game, and I've been told that you just have to keep going. So I know you know the end. Don't spoil it. Other people have said the game's fantastic. Most of the people have said that was fantastic have been Magic players. So I'm like, do you just really like the card builder part of it, or what? And then they just refuse to answer anymore, and I'm just like, all right, there's probably something I don't get, you know. But
that's fine.
I just haven't had the time or motivation studying that stuff. All right, Pro Tour Paris. This is my first PT. I actually tested with 1 Reed Duke. Reed ended up playing Blue Black Control. I played Red Green Valakut. And in retrospect, I don't think Red Green Valakut was that bad, but it wasn't very good either. So
the problem was that there was a very, very good deck.
Yeah, that is the issue. That's the giant issue with the deck.
Yeah.
The very good deck was the deck that CFB played, which was Blue-White Stoneforge Mystic with Squadron Hawks and Jason Mind Sculptor. Basically, this is when people say Callblade, this is the deck they mean. Batterskull made it even more egregious, but frankly, it was kind of egregious as it was.
Yeah, it was really, really good.
Stories from this tournament, I remember losing to Shintaro Ishimura. I'm just like, wow, this guy played me. Then I found his deck didn't have mana leak. I'm like, wow, this guy double played me because I just waited until 9 mana for my Primeval Titan. Like,
was that the guy
that was Riser
top-8'd?
He top-8'd the PT, then
Mirror
he played
Crusader?
then he played the MOCS and made top 8 the same like evening.
Yeah.
He was a true degen.
So. He's great. He still plays a lot. I know my best Riser memory of like finishes was him winning a modern PTQ with Legion Loyalist, like all 1-drops mono red.
Oh, yeah. I also remember that. Riser is a character. The Japanese players have very interesting takes on decks sometimes, and then when they're found out, sometimes they lose a lot more, to be fair. But
Yeah.
that's fine. Notable things. I guess since you weren't at this event, I have a bunch of stories. My seal deck was okay, not great, but I was 5 points short of having the second buy, I think. That's how it worked back then. If you were 1950, you got a second buy. This rating
Correct.
is not accurate for these rating systems they actually used back then. They're both ELO, but this was like a WotC ELO page that was actually maintained. And
it included all
yeah.
your events, and then 1950 was composite, so it was like constructed and don't worry about it. ELO was a thing. You don't have to worry about it.
And the reason that I didn't get it was because like Dream Wizards forgot to record one of the FNMs I threw or something like that. Because this is what people did. They would like, you would get up to a threshold and then stop playing for a while, and it was kind of not great, honestly. Which is why they eventually went with it.
ELO is really good for things like MTG ELO Project, where it's just like for show, and really bad when you start like using it to determine anything.
Yeah. And one last thing about that GP, so this was one of the few times where they ran Pro Tour then Grand Prix. So the Pro Tour started on Thursday. The second day of the Pro Tour was Friday. Day one of the GP was Saturday. So Sunday there was still a PTQ for me to play. And I decided to be big brained and play fairies. And I basically lost round 2 to a Fairies Mirror, then played the same person in the finals of the PTU in the Fairies Mirror. Now knowing what their deck was look like, which included Sword of Feast and Famine, which is a terrifying card to play against in those mirrors, because but the issue within the mirrors is you actually have to remove every creature they ever play, and Bitter Blossom just gives you an infinity number of creatures.
Yeah, you cannot kill every token from Bitter Blossom. That's just not how it works.
Yeah, and that is how I played my first PT. Didn't do great in joined GP, and then Fairies smiled upon me, and I basically beat everyone except for my round 2 opponent, and then beat him in the rematch because he went to 5 cards twice. So
Smart.
Yeah, I mean, I think he was advantaged in deck build, but then I was advantaged in having 7 cards in my hand both of the games.
Yeah, cards in hand was an important metric back in the day.
Well, especially in the Thoughtseize mirrors, remember?
Yeah. Let's see. What is the next event on this list?
Grand Prix Dallas Fort Worth, which is where... Oh, okay, I'll summarize the long and short of this top 8. There's one person who snuck into the top 8 at X 0 and 3. I don't remember what X was. His name was David Shields. His name was David Shields. He's a glacial player, and the top 8 had 32 preordains in it, and I believe 32 Jason Mind Sculptors as well.
Yeah, it was 4 Callblade decks and 4 Teamer Ramp.
They called it Rug Control back then, I think, or whatever. Now, same thing.
Yeah, I was also at this event. I played Callblade. I did reasonably well. I was like X1 going deep and then lost a few in a row to just like bad draws against the rug decks. I know specifically the thing I had was Oust in my deck to deal with the Lotus Cobras and like overgrown battlements from all the green decks.
I also had Oust in my deck, so we're both smart. I ousted Andre Prost's Hero of Bladehold, which he had in his deck for the mirror. I thought about it for a long time. I'm just like, is this card even good in the mirror? Because you tap out and they Jace you, then you have a hero versus Jace. And
no, it was not good. You could not. That was the joke. You couldn't play hero because
it failed.
You got Jaced every time.
Yeah, it failed the Jace check essentially. Yes.
Yes. A player lifetime ban for cheating did top 8 this GP. That was their first PT. First PT invite was that.
There's another redacted, but we won't mention that either.
Yeah, that was an event. Oren Beasley top 8. Oren's a great guy.
Yeah.
He is like one of my. He beat me in this event. He's like one of my like tournament nemesises.
Nemesis.
There was like this event. Yeah. I think in this count, like this year, he beat me at this event. He beat me at the next GP we're going to talk about probably, which is Providence, and then he beat me at the SEG Invitational in like key spots in all 3 of them.
Yeah.
The Legacy one was egregious. I think he played like 4 Brainstorms and 3 Hymns in one game, and I was just like, oh my gosh.
I'm pretty sure Oren copied one of my MTGO deck lists for that Legacy GP. a lot of
Very
people
likely.
sort of did back then for I don't know what reason. Like
This was like the Sultai pile, right?
yeah, my deck wasn't good, but I didn't realize that. And then I figured out watching the CFB play that tournament, I'm like, their deck is good. Their deck is just the standard deck with better cards. And it looks broken.
Mm-hmm.
It was Blue White Blade. They did play Standstill and Daze, and I'm pretty sure those cards were not good, but it didn't matter because Mental Misstep sort of subsidized playing those slow, grindy blue decks where you could kind of just set up a situation where it's okay for you to play Standstill. So my memories of this event, there's a few. Round 3, I'm playing against some Ohio player, and I know this, and I'm pretty sure they have 4 back to basics in their deck because this was like the mono blue Athens, Ohio deck that played 4 back to basics. I'm like, well, if I get beat to beat on this turn cycle, I'm gonna lose, but I can't really do anything except tap out. I tap out, they play counterspell, they play beat to beat, and I'm just dead. So great.
Yeah.
Because my deck had 1 basic land and it was a basic island. And that's not going to cut it versus back to basics. And generally, I think the way legacy meta bases are constructed, especially nowadays, you can't really just play 1 basic and expect it to work out very often, because a lot of the decks that play 1 basic also play 4 Urza Saga. So if you just play a basic, then you play a Saga, they'll just waste on the Saga every time. Like, it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
And also, there's the fact that if you fetch basic, then you fetch, dual lands after that. It's not like you really played around Wasteland, it just means you delayed Wasteland, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And yeah, we got a nice dog pick.
Yeah.
Also,
this is Zam. She's a very chill girl.
One last story from this event was Paul Mastriano. I have to say I am not a fan of this person. And it's specifically this match, where in game 3, he wasted infinity time with 1 land Divining Top. I called a judge multiple times, they didn't really do anything. And I had 2 Bobs adjacent the Mind Sculptor to his 1 land top when he was about to be dead. And I was playing like frantically quickly. You know me when I'm in like messy, fast Jarvis mode. And I was so irritated by that match that I'm pretty sure I didn't play very well the next match, which is, that's fine.
Yep. Let's see. This event, the stories are all not related. So we were driving 2 cars of people from Michigan to Providence in Rhode Island. And so we load up 7 people into 2 cars, and one of the people like literally hops out of one of the cars to the other and yells "kids in the back" in order to discuss Storm.
Kids in the back is nice.
Yes. I was playing Ad Nauseam Tendrils at this event, and we just chatted Storm for a while. And then we're in the middle of Ohio on the I-80 toll road in construction in a rainstorm. And the transmission on the car we're in breaks down in like 1 lane of condensed traffic. We're just like stalled in the only running lane of traffic. We have to like push the car physically in the rain off to the side of the road. We get a tow truck, and the tow truck gives us the options of like, well, 2 of you can fit in the cab and 2 of you can just stand in the rain, or you guys can just kind of hang out in the car on the flatbed, which is probably not the best idea. But like waiting in the rain in Ohio on the side of a highway also seems like a really bad idea. So we just kind of rolled onto the gas station, convinced the other car people to stop and wait for us, despite Mike Jacob trying to convince everyone to keep going. This is the like 8 out of 10 on the like ridiculous travel story scale that I've had. And we get to the rest stop, and basically we determine there's space for 2 people in the car. There's 4 people in the other car. So the guy whose car it is like, I'm just going to have to stay with my car and figure it out. And like, whatever happens, happens. So there's only 3 people in 2 slots. So I believe we pick cars to see who gets left at a rest stop in Ohio, which in theory, someone will be on their way from Michigan in like 8 hours to pick them up. And
I remember the story now. It's
we left. The guy who got left behind was the guy who switched cars at the last minute. He didn't even need to be in the broken down car. But this was the start of the Twitter era, and in a like serendipitous thing, he posted on Twitter, and someone driving from Chicago was just like, "Oh, I'll be there in 45 minutes. You want to hop in?" And yeah.
Oh my god.
So everyone made it to Providence, Rhode Island, despite the car not breaking. Yeah, the 8 out of 10 may have been the time that this happened, and there was no second car, and we were stuck in Vermont in like 2-degree weather for at least an hour waiting for a tow truck. It was bad.
All right.
Anyways, travel's dangerous.
Yeah. I'll tell one quick story about.
Goodbye, doggo.
Okay, I'll cover the one last tournament, Pro Tour Nagoya, which I believe you also were not at. Maybe you
was at the one.
Okay.
I'll
tell a quick story because we only have 30 seconds. My round 1 opponent is DeRosa, and if you know this person, he is quite a character. And he said, "Welcome to the Pro Tour," to which I responded, "This is my second." And I put him in the ground with Wax and Zenith versus Pure Steel Paladin deck. My deck was quite bad, but we'll get to that after we play this round. I like it when they're like, "Welcome to Pro Tour." I'm like, "This is my second," and then I just like put him in the ground. Like, it feels like it's deserved by that point, right?
I think so.
Yeah, it's just like, well, who are you? I mean, clearly I knew who he was, but that also wasn't going to do shit to me.
Yeah. Ant is a character.
Biraj is trying to get me by saying, "Did I play at Pro Tour DN?" Yo, what's
You gotta
DN?
come up with a better one.
What's DN, Biraj? I'm just gonna give it to him because I love Biraj. Yeah, I know you got me, but I did it on purpose.
Okay, let's see if we can get the 3-1 here.
Yeah, all right, it's a Lurrus mirror, and our hand's pretty good. So, I mean,
yeah, I mean we're on the play, right? No,
we're on the draw, but that's fine still.
Yeah, we have the bolt, so like everything's fine. Ooh, so this
hammer
looks like it.
Yeah, this is hammer
with like the random assorted fetches.
I mean, this is not the best hand versus hammer. I mean, I only have one lightning bolt, right? The issue.
What are we supposed to do here?
Probably play a 1-drop creature, but the question is which one, right?
Yeah, I don't think it's Ragavan actually.
No, that just runs. That runs into Memnite.
Yeah.
Probably just Swift Spear, right?
I think it's actually DRC because then we can pay for the Sentinel next turn, kill something, and get a surveil.
Okay, that's out. I mean, this is not the most cost-effective card, but I think you're still supposed to bring it in. I think we just want to be a control deck in the matchup.
Yeah.
We're fucked.
We're allowed to concede the game at any time, Jarvis.
I mean, this hand was broken from them, right? Like, this is the reason to play this deck sometimes, right?
Yeah, I would tell you to concede the game. I guess we could draw. Why are we blocking? Why? What?
I think I just want to remove all their stuff eventually, right? All right.
Okay, I would concede. Matters. If you drew ending, you could like kill the hammer and bolt their pure steel,
and give them one card, which is fine.
Yeah, that's why I don't think you wanted to block, but it doesn't matter if you didn't draw.
I see. Okay, you're right. I thought at the time my out was to remove all their stuff, but
no. You're just trying to kill their hammer and hope nothing goes wrong, but everything went wrong.
I think we should cut some number of these cards.
I would cut light up the stages and Ragavans. I think you want the like inherent draw twos.
Sure.
Ragavan is really bad in this matchup out of basically everything.
Yep.
It's okay to have a small number on the play, but I'm starting by cutting the ones I have.
I don't even think I want both Alpine Moon, but I definitely want one. Maybe I want both.
No, I think you want both if you're going down this road, because you can also just name Ink Moth.
Oh,
true. You want Path, right?
I'm not sure about that one, but that's a maybe.
It's like your one way to kill a thing that has a hammer on it.
Sure. The game is over because we were going to get bonked again by a hammer. It was basically over when their
turn 2 equip +10/+10 is a lot.
Plus draw a card.
Yeah. What are we cutting then?
I can't. I have to have these in my deck. This might actually be a trap.
No, I think you also need to kill Sanctifier. Sure. And like, I think you need the Lurrus recursion. I could see trimming a Swift Spear.
So one Swift Spear and what else? Like the problem is like we have 12 creatures, right? I don't know.
Yeah. Maybe that's too much. I've definitely overboarded in these situations before, but we have enough outs to like Saga and stuff that I'm less concerned. I actually really want all the artifact removal spells because then we can like have the Lurrus loop with those. Like the EEs and the Pyrites, I mean.
Sure. Do I need both Wear Tear then? Wear Tear is really good though.
No, Wear Tear is really, you need to kill Saga.
Sure.
I wonder if on Holt, like you can trim like a heat and a
I
Swiss
was
spear or
looking at
something.
that. All right, I'll cut one heat, but we still need one more cut then.
You can cut a path. You don't need multiple path, probably.
So we're just like a mid-range deck by this point versus them is the plan.
Yeah, you're a very proactive mid-range deck.
Their hand was actually just the nuts. So like I think we were dead to that most of the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very hard to you're on the draw. Like, what are you gonna do against that?
I mean, I'm not gonna mulligan that hand, and I would probably.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything you could do about that one. With basically anything that doesn't have Solitude in it. Even with Solitude, that's pretty bad.
I guess I keep, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with this. You're gonna like Swiss Spear, Bauble, activate?
I think so. I mean, I could play Soul Scar and play Swift Spear plus. I guess if I miss on a land, it's pretty bad though.
Yep.
Yeah. I guess I need the land too much to consider doing the other thing.
Yep. Ooh, that's actually a really good draw.
Sort of. I mean, is it as good as a land?
No, but like, in terms of other draws in your deck, it's probably one of the better ones.
Fair enough.
So you're darting their thing, giving them a card, but just getting it out of the way, right?
I think so. I mean, I know they have a Stoneforge behind, but I think that's fine. I mean,
you have to get rid of the Esper Sentinel somehow, and if you're choked on mana, like it's never gonna get better, right?
Right. The only counterpoint is, what if I just attack, play Soulscar, and let them have the Sentinel for a turn? What does that change?
I guess
that seems better to me, right? Like, because then the dart might be able to like deal more damage as well.
Like, what if they just like play a Sigarda's Aid next turn and don't have a hammer? Like, you probably want to. I don't know. It breaks up their like high end draws to do this way.
But since we're missing a land, can we really afford to play that way? Like, I kind of think we need to like play for some luck as well, right?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah, so I'm gonna play the Soulscar. I mean, it is reasonable to.
If we get turn 2 games in a row, we get turn 2 games in a row.
Yeah.
And even then, you can still ending their Sentinel after tanking a giant
exactly.
hit.
I mean, I don't think that's the end of the world. I mean, obviously, I would prefer that not to happen, but yeah, you should attack first, buddy.
Yeah, you're not blocking.
That's fine. Like, now we take 11. They spent their entire turn, and we just kind of have.
The problem is that now they. This is actually really bad because even if we ending their thing, like they Stoneforge Mystic for another hammer and like immediately re-up. But whatever, it's what we got to do.
I mean, the real issue is we didn't draw a land, I think.
Yeah, that is a problem. You should draw lands and not get turn 2 hammered. Gosh, our land isn't even a mountain, so we can't just like backdoor our way out of this.
And they didn't have a land, so we could have hypothetically gotten out of it.
I mean, they would have just gone like Stoneforge, play Aid, and then hammered here, and like that would be a dicey spot for you because you would like.
So how do I win now?
Chump blocking the Stoneforge Mystic and EEing away their hammers and aids.
So what should I play this turn then?
I would probably I would EE for 1 and attack with a creature. Probably the Soul Scar.
Yeah.
Hold up. No. Think this through. I'm trying to figure out if there's a roundabout way to lethal. Like if you were to like play Channeler, play EE for 0, actually you wouldn't have to EE for 0. Like, no, you would. You would EE for. What if you attack with both and play Channeler? How bad is that?
Then we have to block with Channeler next turn. Oh no.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you're like playing to like draw like a land to dart and just like go off. I don't know if that's better or worse.
But that's not even lethal, right? Because then you would only have 1, 2, 3.
No, it's lethal,
4, 5,
right? Because
6,
it's
7.
3/3, and the EE is another 2. Like you have 10
see.
plus to cast an Alpine Moon.
Okay.
I think that
right.
is actually our best line.
They might even block as well, so they didn't.
They did find a hammer with the Stoneforge, right?
Yep, they did.
I just want to make sure they didn't like find a Shadow Spear. We were like, I don't think we could have ever beat that if they did, because that would mean they'd have another hammer plus a spear. But
okay. Well, I mean, this game was just not salvageable, I think.
No, I absolutely agree.
That's unfortunate. Like, I feel like we lost this match to mana issues, and I specifically tried to avoid that by adding a land, but maybe.
I think we specifically lost this match to our opponent's hands being very good and us not being able to defeat them.
Yeah, it's kind of sad, but no, because you need the EE for prowess next turn, ultimate price. That's why you can't do that. Yeah. Oh, I see. Maybe I was supposed to do that. I don't know. I mean.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, that is more accurate then, I guess.
Yeah, I didn't think about the surveil off the EE. That's a good point. I was going to cast the EE for prowess next turn, but if that was what was going to happen, I think it was right to do it that way.
Yeah, I don't know. The deck is probably still good. N=4 is not the biggest sample size, you know, like.
No, I was pretty impressed with the deck. I think the Rhinos matchup is legit bad.
I agree with that. That was such an unsatisfying match. Like, it lasted like 10 minutes, and we didn't really do anything. But that's Hammer sometimes.
Yes, that is what Hammer does.
I'm not gonna call it yet. Let's just like shoot the shit for a little bit more, then call it. You know.
Yeah, I've got a little bit potentially before dinner is ready here.
Oh, nice! You're eating late.
Rescheduling.
Fair enough. Yeah, you already did make a free time to come to the stream.
I do that on occasion.
Occasion, when you're feeling it. Yeah, so that Kurtor Nagoya, that's my story, Bubak. Kurt Spies designed this deck, and frankly, the deck wasn't very good, and I also wasn't good at playing it. It was Bubak Tezzeret Control, which, if you remember that block, people were so hyped about that deck, and people played in Moxes, and I kind of think it just wasn't very good most of the time, to be quite fair.
Nope, not in the slightest.
I assume you played Tempered Steel, right?
Nope, I played some red-green pile, don't worry about it.
Oh, I think this person also played the red-green pile? Or Jeff Felonius definitely played a red-green pile versus me.
Yeah, we don't really need to recall what happened in that event. The one story, I guess 2 stories I have. One is we showed up to Japan really late, and this was like in the dark ages before your phone had GPS or that worked in Japan. So we just kind of like bumbled our way around, and Mike Jacobs somehow, through like use of a printout with an address, like we found a hair salon that was closing and just like kept pointing at the address or something, and like ended up with like a Japanese MapQuest printout from the person working. It was great. Anyways, we found our way to our hotel eventually. Okay. So my friend who, like, when we were kids, actually introduced me to Magic, actually competitive Magic, like the first person that I went to like JSS's to keep herself, was actually in Japan doing a study abroad during this event. and just kind of rolled up. And I
That's
loaned him a
sick.
deck for the LCQ, and that deck happened to be Twin Blade, so he queued for the PT.
Wow, that is sick. But he
He had
didn't
played-
have a block deck or draft at
No,
all, really.
we built a block deck for him, but he hadn't played Magic in he hadn't played Magic since like 2007, and he just showed up and it was like, I'm like, this is Twin Blade, this is what it does, and then he Twin Bladed people because that was unbelievable.
Sorry, I have one more good story about Pro Tour Paris that doesn't involve the tournament whatsoever. Do you remember Stuart Wright? You probably do, for sure. So Stu Wright also qualified for this PT because he's pretty good at Magic and card games in general. He, for some reason, the UK PTQ he won also provided a free hotel room for this PT. So me and another guy from like the old forums, like internet forums, stayed with him. Now, the thing with Stu is he doesn't really like going to sleep early. So, he's up until all hours of the night doing whatever Brits in France do, which is probably drink in various pubs, right? But here's what happened. One of the days we came back to our room and our keys stopped working. And then we would go down to the desk and the people are like, how are we sure that you are staying in that room? And we're like, oh, the room reservation is under our friend's name, Stuart Wright. And then they go to the reservation, and his name's literally not on the reservation. So they threaten to call the cops on us unless we repay all of the reservation right then. They won't even give us our room keys, and all of our stuff is in there. So they have us over a barrel. So I pay them back on my credit card because I'm like, all right, I'm sure Stu will figure this out. And it turns out the organizer Stu had, like some French guy in the UK, just never put his name on the reservation. So it was just like kind of insane. And that's how I almost got the cops called on me in Paris.
In Paris?
Yeah, this was Pro Tour Paris. Not Nagoya.
Okay, so I've got a good hotel story from Japan.
Okay.
So there's a couple of us splitting some rooms, and so I want to say on like Sunday of the PT, I plan to go and play in a legacy side event.
Yep.
So I go home, go to bed early. One of the guys in the other room is going out to party. And I show up to play this like really early legacy side event. And I'm like, I walk in and I'm like one of the first people there. And he's just there. And I'm like, oh, hey, buddy, how's it going? You showing up early to play a side event? And he looks at me and I'm like, why are you in a wheelchair? What's up with your foot? So he had gone out to karaoke and party with people. And some people had stepped outside to smoke, and a couple people just like went wild. And he's like, I'm just like walking away from this for a bit, and I'll come back like after a walk around the block after you guys get arrested or something. He takes a wrong turn and gets lost. And he's like, okay, I'll head back to the hotel. What do I know about it? The name is only Japanese characters, and it's next to a McDonald's and a Starbucks.
But there's so many of those.
Yeah. So needless to say, this leads to a horrible misadventure of walking around for hours in the streets of Japan until he hits a bad step on the sidewalk and just like collapses his entire leg and just like can't walk. And so he does the only reasonable thing, which is get a hobble to a cab to the convention center because he knows where that is, and pass out on the lawn. He got woken up in the morning by convention center security guards who immediately recognized that he's just a dumb American there for the card games and like roll him up a wheelchair and are like, you doing good, buddy? How's it going? Like,
Oh my God. That poor bastard.
One of the other people out partying at this party, I believe, no, this was the next night, went out partying and ran off into the night and missed their flight the next morning. Like they just disappeared. And as a result of them missing their flight, Christian Valenti, who had purchased a like standby ticket, managed to sneak onto the flight home to America.
Wow, that's sick.
After I think he spent 48 hours in airports trying to get to Japan on his initial standby ticket. Because this was before Wizards paid for your plane tickets to PTs. So he was like, I have to buy a ticket to Japan. I top aided this GP. I won like $1,200. The flight is
no,
$1,500.
Your story is actually inaccurate. I don't think they paid for GP top 8 flights, but they paid for
Oh
PTQ
yes, you are
event
correct.
flights. I know because I wouldn't have gone there and then to China afterwards to visit my dad who was teaching in Beijing at that point.
Yep.
They didn't pay for the Beijing trip, but I managed to figure out a way to like sort of circumvent all of that. Then I really learned the hack later, which was you can just request a travel reward and just figure out all the booking yourself, and it's actually way cheaper generally.
Yeah, I mean, this is never going to happen again.
Yeah,
but
of course
yes,
not.
that was always the trick.
Yeah. So suffice it to say, I did not play well in this PT Nagoya, and my deck was bad, so that's really not great because the person I was staying with was an Australian, but he was like coughing a lot, so I think I also got sick. And then like you really just can't do that during a tournament.
Yeah, this was also like this was one of like the weird PTs. I remember this was a couple months after the Fukushima disaster. So there was a lot of talk about like some people skipped who like you would have never thought would have skipped. And like there was a while where like people thought the PT might be canceled. It was a weird one.
Yeah, that's almost like it reminds me of the PT London one that people played Kamagawa Block Limited, which was literally after some attack on the subway.
Yeah, the next PT Nagoya was held in Nagoya in February of 2020. So maybe PT Nagoyas are just cursed. So
rest in peace, PT Nagoya. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. That was an interesting event.
I have one other story from that, which I literally don't remember until Sam Pardee told me, which was on Sunday. He I apparently team drafted with him, and Sam later this past year told me, "Yeah, I'm sorry about PT Nagoya," and I'm like, "Why?" And Sam was like, "I was kind of a jerk the entire time," and I'm like, "I don't even remember this," and Sam clearly did remember it. So,
he was actually. You say this, but we played in the last round and for like nothing, and he conceded because the only thing on the line was a pro point that did not matter at all to him. So that was my first interaction with Sam Pardee.
Yeah, I don't remember. Okay, so Grand Prix Pittsburgh. Oh, I remember this one. It wasn't great. I played the bad blue white deck. That was post ban. Jason Stoneforge were banned by this point. I'm just like, I'm still gonna play blue white. It's great. Turns out it's not very good.
This was the standard format where they banned Jason Stoneforge, and then every deck was bad. Every single deck was bad.
Mono red, I think, was fine, but
no, it was core Firewalker and timely reinforcements were legal. It was also bad.
Any opponents on the event deck? No. Yeah. So yeah, not who top eight? Harry Corvese top eighted this deck.
This was won by a now banned Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
I believe Yoel Larson top aided this after defeating me in round 11, playing Callblade. I played Tempered Steel. This was we were driving. This was me, Kyle Dubinsky. Me, Kyle Dubinsky, Matt McCullough, and Brian DeMars. We drove from Detroit to Pittsburgh to Philly for the PT the next weekend. Notably, I remember all these cards were in the Tempered Steel deck. All these mono red hate cards because the sideboard of the Tempered Steel deck was just non-functional. So we just put like a ton of we had like 3 Celestial Purge, 4 Core Firewalkers, and like 3 Timely Reinforcements. Something like really egregious. I played against Noah Schwartz in this event on mono red and just like played all these cards, and he was really upset.
Yeah. So Pro Tour Philadelphia is not listed there for me because that was the one where I lost in like round 6 of an LCQ, and I was pretty sure my twin list was good. Spoiler, it was good. Spoiler, the person who lost playing top 8 twice, Hakakian, basically it was like he didn't know what to do because it was supposed to be 4-set extended. I'm just like, I'm pretty sure blue-red combo is like the best macro archetype, and I'm pretty sure twin is good. So that's what I told him, and he spent a lot of time working on it, and it worked out relatively well for him. If he had played slightly better, I think he would have made top 8, but
how it goes.
One notable thing about that PT was they had a PTQ on Sunday. It was enormous, and it was M11. It was M12. And I looked at my pool, and 5 of my 6 rares went straight into my deck. I will list some of them: Gideon Jura, Solemn Simacrum, Call to the Grave, Aegis Angel. What was the fifth one? It was some good black-white card. And I had 2 reassembling skeletons for the Hardlock with Call to the Grave.
Nice.
So-
I have a good one related to reassembling skeletons. So go ahead.
Okay, so I take a draw in round 9 of the PTQ when I realized, like 5 minutes later, I wasn't supposed to. I snuck in at 8th, just barely, and I'm just like, I probably should have just played it out after redoing the math, but it was too late by that point. So I snuck in, and the only thing I noticed during the draft is mono white is way open, and that is a deck you can draft if you see Guardian's Pledge, and I saw it literally 15th pick in pack 1. So just knew mono white was open, and I also opened Day of Judgment, so that probably helped.
So my story was, so this draft format was hyper aggressive. It featured the bloodthirst mechanic,
Yep.
which is like your creatures would be bigger if you dealt damage to them on that turn before you played them.
Incidentally, that's why I think Day of Judgment was insane in this format, but that's digression.
But the big joke was that green was really bad because it was the worst aggressive color.
Yeah.
I ended up drafting a really weirdo deck on day 1 of this PT and 3-0ing. My deck was green black smallpox, and I chose to draw first every single game.
Your opponents were just like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, so the peak of this was my opponent went like mulligan to 6, plains, white 1-drop, go, and I went swamp. And they went miss land drop, attack for 1, go.
And
I went
like,
second swamp, smallpox. They passed the turn. I played a force and a Llanowar Elves. Because you see it's a combo, you can't curve into smallpox after playing the Llanowar Elves on turn 1. So it just forces good sequencing.
All right. So that PTQ, I 3-0'd the top 8 pretty easily because my deck was broken. I had 3 Guardian's Pledge in my mono white deck, and my finals opponent was also white aggro. So I just sat there for a while, like committing minimal resources. They overextend. I cast Day of Judgment in 2 1-drops, and they just concede. So, and that was like game 2 or game 3 of the finals, and it was obviously pretty nice.
Yeah.
So that qualified for Pro Tour Dark Ascension, where I also played a horrible deck. You know, there's a really common theme. How many times have I said horrible deck in the last like 10 minutes?
Yeah, it was I mean, I also played a bad deck at PT Dark Ascension. I played
Did you
humans.
play humans?
It was not good.
Yeah. Yeah, we both fell into the trap. Humans was
Yeah.
actually bad. Delver was good. And Red Green was okay. But Delver was good.
Yeah. I'm going to save my PT Dark Ascension story for next time. I am going to go grab dinner, but this has been good to hang out and battle. We should arrange to do this sooner as opposed to later.
Yeah, maybe a few weeks.
Yeah.
And, good to have you. And we'll figure out a different deck next time. I still think this deck was good. I'll probably give it another shake in a league or whatever, but...
Yep.
Let's see. Oh, hold on. One last thing before we go. We do have to open a few chests for the people. We'll open 3. Oh, I should do 1 by 1, right? That. And then we also have to raid someone, but then everything's good.
Awesome draft card.
Yeah, this card, I remember whatever GP it was, Ravnica Allegiance. I had it in draft pod number 2, and I just I went through my entire deck multiple times in that draft. So.
This was GP, not New York.
Oh yeah, Secaucus, New Jersey.
Yes.
Okay, well, do you have any good Crucible of World stories? Because I mean, I do, but
no, they're all the same, and they all are not great.
Well,
someone cast all the lands.
Well, did you ever Ghost Quarter lock a Death and Taxes player? Like literally get every planes out?
That's impressive.
Well, it turns out it's a lot easier when you have 3 explorations in play. Like then it's like kind of cheating, right?
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Any good stories? Yeah, I don't have any good stories about this card. I think this card is just kind of weird.
I remember when Skullclamp got printed, people got excited to make combo decks with this card, and then they just played Skullclamp instead.
Yeah, you don't need to put Skullclamp plus this card in your deck. You just put Clamp plus creatures in your deck. And this Nephilim was like fine.
I think you should remember the color combo name because no, you shouldn't.
Oh, I think the best one was the one that got counters. Ink Trader Nephilim, I'm pretty sure is the best Nephilim out of all of them, but whatever.
All right. I thought Glinta was the best, but who's counting?
whatever.
I say we kick it over to Doomwake.
Okay, cool. And
Modern 8 cast.
I will be back probably Friday morning because I have it off, but
Nice.
I'll probably play Legacy even though like people are hating on Legacy. I don't know. I kind of just rotate formats and it remains fun for me, you know?
Yeah, you got to play them all at this point, I think.
Yep. Anyways, we'll see y'all next time. Thanks for being here.